Alrighty, we got my boy Élan over here. What's up, brother?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
Good. Cheers. Thanks for coming.
Dude, you do it all. I didn't realize, Nate. It's nice to meet you, man.
Thank you. You too. Well, the thing is, dude, like, I've been working out with Caitlin for a couple years now, and she always kept mentioning you that we'd get along, and I was like, oh, and then I started looking at your stuff, and I was like, I fuck with this dude's content.
That's funny.
And I was like, I gotta meet him, gotta have him on the podcast, all these things, because like the goal of the podcast that like I've been trying to like articulate is bringing like a ton of like world-class creatives to like inspire others to do what they want to do.
Beautiful.
That's kind of like what it is, you know.
Sometimes it just takes a really good conversation and one particular thing that somebody says to spark that creative fire in somebody else.
Well,
so,
it's
great.
It's like one thing too. Like it could be like you were just talking about how your buddy gifted you like a Rick Rubin book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
exactly.
One book, one conversation, one anything can affect another human to do like something that they've wanted to, but they didn't have the balls to do.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the universe is kind of just a series of energies that are constantly being exchanged. And it's just like when it's your time to like let your light shine, you know, it's almost like people know it intuitively, subconsciously, without even meeting you. And you'll, if it's meant to be, you'll meet that person or you'll find that inspiration in whatever outlet, you know?
What do you mean like energies are intertwined in that they will...
Kind of like what Rick Rubin speaks about in his book when he's speaking about like specific ideas, right? I've experienced it myself where it's like I have an idea and I've talked with my friends about it and we've joked around and like, hey, maybe we should write this screenplay based on this. And yeah, it's a really good idea. And then none of us ever actually saw it into fruition.
Like take action on it.
Exactly. Never took action on it. And so years down the line, it's like, all right, this new series is coming up and it's about this. And you're like, damn, that was my idea.
Like you had it.
Yeah, like you had the idea, but you never took action.
Sure.
And he says, like, when the universe has an idea that needs to come to life, regardless of whether it's you or it's somebody else, it's going to come to life.
Come to fruition.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's similar to the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love. Oh, how do you like the cocktail, by the way?
It's great, man. I'm a citrus fan and I'm a whiskey fan.
Oh, there we
so
go.
I'm like, this is
winner.
perfect, dude. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Talented. This guy does it all.
Oh, thanks, brother.
He raps.
Appreciate it.
He plays guitar, piano. He's an awesome personal trader.
He's talking about himself.
He has a bitters company. Is there anything else?
No, thanks, brother. I don't rap though.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Who knows?
I saw. I do a little bit of poetry, but the rapping part, like,
there you are, man.
I don't know.
It's the hardest part is like finding your voice.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it today, like rapping. There's so many things that influence what it is, but like I was just thinking, well, there's actually a difference between people who can flow versus who can rap. People who have found their voice versus.
What's the difference between flow and rap?
Well, I think that flow is like delivery in terms of the journey that you take people on, like wordplay and combination of words and how it fuses to form certain like song structure.
Okay.
And like in terms of like the pattern. It's like because when I write, I'm like writing a bunch of stuff and
so are you
it's like
talking
taking
about
a
like
lyrical puzzle and piecing it together versus rapping, and rapping is more so I think like cadence, delivery, your tone, like what you actually sound like when you're performing that stuff.
It's like you could say one sentence in one way or like one lyric in one way, but then say a different one, it means a totally different word.
Exactly.
Totally different meaning.
Yeah, it's like the inflection that you put on those words that give it the emotion.
Yeah.
That decide whether somebody actually feels it or not. Does it resonate with someone?
Yeah.
You know?
So. Back to the ideas real quick though.
Yeah,
like,
sorry.
No, all good.
You were talking about the book. I could see this happening all night long.
No, I love it, bro. I love it. I love going off tangents too, just because like the brain is so like, okay, this sparked this idea. We're gonna go there for a little bit. Then if we could come back, that's awesome. If it doesn't, awesome. You know.
Universe.
But Elizabeth Gilbert wrote this book, Big Magic, similar to that idea, and she had this book that she already written down, so she took action on it, right? But she never published it. She kind of finished it like halfway, and she met this lady who also wrote a book, but hers was complete, and it was basically almost the exact same book up to that half point, but the other half was already written by the other lady.
Wow.
Different characters, different names of the people, but same town in Brazil, same idea of a bridge, same name of whatever. And so that blew my mind because it was a legit example of like, hey, they took action, but they just didn't complete
Yeah.
that screenplay, that song. But someone wrote half of it.
Yep.
And then they were like, fuck it. They threw the idea away.
Yeah.
Someone else grabbed it. They wrote that
They were
whole
inspired.
thing.
Went back into the ether, and then it came back.
But they
through.
never met each other.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. That's the universe, dude. That's wild. That's
And I didn't,
magic. Now I feel like I need to read this book.
dude, I didn't think it was real. Like that concept that Rick Rubin talks about is real because like I was like, okay, sure, like whatever. Like everyone has ideas, but they're not exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know. But this one was like exactly verbatim what it was, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, strange coincidence, right?
Yeah.
Except I don't really think there is any such thing as coincidence. So I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Yeah. Things find you when you need them most in this life, or you find those things.
I like to think that's real, but there's also so many people with unfortunate circumstances out there that they were the dealt a bad hand, and then they like live in like downtown, like, and they're all on the streets, and like shit like that. And I'm like, I'd love to think that there's no such thing as coincidence or something like that. But then then you have, because you're just like living your life in your own world.
Yeah, your perspective.
If your perspective.
Exactly. When you look at other people in their situations, how screwed up they are.
Yeah.
I honestly think it boils down to, and it's easy to say, I mean, we've all gone through our fair share of struggle. It's just the nature of humanity. But I think things do happen, and it's hard to see that light when you're so far down in that hole. You know what I'm saying?
Like a breakup or like anything.
Really,
anyone's hardest.
Anything that just brings you heartache and pain, right? I think a lot of the times, and there's some bad things that happen, obviously, but it's not just pain, but it's like growing pain. It's an opportunity, something that forces you to grow. You know, maybe you had opportunities or you had certain things calling you consistently, but you weren't really perceptive, right?
Yeah.
You were missing those flashes or those signs or whatever, and something just smack dab hits you, runs you down, runs you over, whatever, and you're forced to now do the work, or forced to respond however you may respond. And I think like it takes a really strong head on somebody's shoulders to be like, fuck, this is terrible. This is really put me in a place that I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to recover from. But there's got to be something that I'm meant to do, you know?
Sure.
And maybe that depends on the person, the personality, and also like their goals for the future and just the type of person they are, right? And how they choose to respond to things. But I don't know.
How does someone develop, I guess, that mindset or that mentality to say those things to themselves?
Trial and error, repetition, practice like anything else, man.
Practice.
Practice applies to so many things. My buddy was...
Practice the way you talk to yourself, huh?
Dude, just practice. Yeah, practice everything that you want to perfect.
Yeah.
Practice it, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, a buddy of mine wrote something. I love the meaningful captions on Instagram. Every once in a while, I'll stumble upon one that I'm like, this is good.
Yeah.
And he was like, 10 things he had learned from 2022 as an independent musician coming up. And one was...
As an independent
musician, yeah. And that, the 10th one, I think, on the list was, you know, talent is overrated, repetition is underrated. And I was like, yeah, so fucking true. Not enough of us who are in spaces, I feel like half the time, struggling to make it are getting enough reps in. And, you know, for whatever reason, some things out of our control. But you always notice when you're doing something consistent, whether it's a quote unquote bad habit, or it's something that you perceive as good that you want to happen, you know, professionally or whatever. Yeah. You're generally not practicing enough. Yeah. You know?
Because if you think about it, if you do something for a long enough period of time and you put hard work into it, you're just going to get better. And when you're bad...
If you're learning, yes.
If you're learning.
Yeah.
And if you continue to keep learning, like, you're bad at something, you'll be decent. If you're decent, you'll become good. If you're good, you'll become great. If you're great, you'll become undeniable. Yeah. You know? And it just takes a long enough time horizon. So many people are like, I'm going to become a musician, but, like, they've only written 5 songs. Yeah. Like, how many songs has Bob Dylan wrote that have not seen the light of day? Yeah. You know?
Very true.
You know? And they just don't think about that.
Yeah.
You know? And it's hard, too, because, like, especially in the world that we live in, like LA, which is like a slight little bubble, you see like all these cool things and cool people and people doing amazing things that sometimes you wish you could do, or you could do, but you're not doing it.
Yeah, I think it's easy to compare yourself. But what I pull from that statement more importantly is the day and age that we live in, and this idea of like instant gratification, or everything's just happening so quickly.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be from social media and what we perceive people to do, everything seems like it's overnight or just happened really fast. When if you really like scroll through the person's timeline or look back 10 years, dude, this dude's been at this for a while.
Sure.
And it's progressively gotten better.
Yeah.
It's just now they finally got their big break.
Yeah.
They've broken through on a global scale or whatever.
Also, you could do it younger. Like how many
people have that luxury?
18-year-olds were like millionaires like 100 years ago. Like not many.
Yeah,
and
the
like,
opportunity wasn't necessarily there.
The
right?
opportunity
Small
wasn't
window.
there. The internet wasn't there. Like
well, you got to think about the revolutions that came around too. So I
such as
I agree. Well, I think about like the Industrial Revolution, just the impact that's had on society the last 150 years.
Yeah.
Versus like maybe it's like the social revolution that we're in right now, and social media has a big play on that and the experience that we, the reality that we experience on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And the access that it gives to people of all ages.
Sure.
You know, there's just more of everything.
Yeah, that's the one thing that is in demand right now. It's people's attention, because no one can hold it. You know, if it's Netflix, if it's YouTube, if it's like, you know,
Yeah.
it's just like people if it's an influencer,
Scary, man.
We're just fighting. Hey, what can we do for this workout reel to make it be seen by more people than the other person?
Yes.
You know, and we're fighting for that attention, and like being in a space where like it's for you, like more so acting and like entertainment in that way, like you're trying to do that, but you also have like this story of like your independent story that you're telling in your song, and you know it's helped you, but you also want it to help other people. So therefore, at least that's what I am observing.
Yes. Yeah, I think that the art for me is an opportunity to voice.
What does art mean to you?
Art?
What is art to you? Like what define
My art, I mean, when it comes to music specifically or acting, really, it's a form of therapy. It's a release. It's
How so?
an energetic transfer. A lot of times if I'm dealing with anything, whether it be anxiety or whatever else, it's an opportunity for me to really work through those feelings.
Sure.
Like, one of the main reasons I got into acting was to get over my anxiety. I had like really bad anxiety growing up, and it was borderline crippling, where it was like, dude, I can't get out of bed. Like, my stomach is in knots. I'm feeling terrible. And there was a lot of things contributing to that at the time, but it was like,
what was the source of that?
I think for one, genetics.
Okay.
I think trauma as a kid, specifically like in relation to relationship I had with my mother at the time.
Sure.
And the way that she dealt with a lot of things, because she came from a family of trauma, and you know, my dad, and it's just stuff trickles down, and we weren't talking about these things in the early 90s or whatever else.
Yeah.
Everything's so more on, you know, visible and right in front of us. But I learned how to move through life with a certain mindset, because that's how I saw my parents functioning.
Sure.
And then I get older and I realize actually that's not what's best for me.
Yeah.
So trying to reprogram the way that I had gone about living for such a long time, my thought process.
Yeah.
It was something that, you know, a lot of people now I feel like go to therapy for it. But I had tried therapy, and I did a little bit of therapy, and it was more so me almost working through things that I felt like I had to figure out on my own internally.
Sure.
But through external experiences and a lot of like hitting my head against the wall, like trying to work through these things until I finally got to a point that I was like, okay, there's a more efficient way to do this, or actually try this instead. Or, you know, you're trying to get into a locked door, and or a room, and there's like different entrances, and you're trying every door, every window. And then finally you figure something out about something that you had tried 2 weeks ago. Now you're actually able to get back in there or whatever. But I think that, and I actually lost where I was.
So basically we were talking about how you got anxiety, and you got because
Okay.
acting got you out of like having anxiety
Bingo.
and those things. Yeah.
So I mean, it's like people who have crippling stage fright, I guess, in a way. I started taking acting classes and started performing live was because I would get so nervous that it was like, you know, how do I deal with this? I enjoy entertainment. I enjoy performing. But if I can't deal with this, I'm never going to be as good as I possibly could be.
Sure.
So I would just force myself to get on stage week after week in front of people performing scenes until I got more comfortable. And even now, I still get butterflies, but repetition, you know, figuring out a way to like get into that place and that mindset.
That's so interesting because like you use acting as like something to make you better from those past traumas that you had. And from what I've experienced from other actors that I know, it's like from what I take away is they're trying to be someone else and they're running away from who they actually are.
Yes. I think a lot of artists are channeling that energy, that trauma. Artists are generally just more sensitive to a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
And that's why they're able to receive and then give to the world a certain quality of work that's more perceptive or just more aware, I guess, in one way or another. It just speaks to you because it's like such a rich emotion or passion that comes from.
Sure.
And it's like from that trauma that they experienced or they hold with themselves that
Yeah.
also is both harmful, right?
Yeah.
And not the most healthiest thing to carry with them throughout their lives. But the art is how they deal or they don't deal, and then either it makes or it breaks them. And, you know,
What has art done for you?
it's exposed me to different people. It's helped build up my confidence. It's helped me find purpose. It's just been like that good friend. A good day for me, a good night is like me working on my art and just working through things. You know, it's like working through things when I'm writing, when I'm creating new lyrics, new songs. It's like just an opportunity for me to have a conversation with me one-on-one.
Yeah.
And see where that conversation goes.
And just let it go.
Exactly.
Isn't it crazy that you could find like one thing, like I make drinks all the time and I read about like mixology and like that types of areas, and I could do it for a long period of time. But like I read a personal finance book, I'll sit down and it'll be like 5 minutes and I'm just like, I can't do this. Or like if someone's trying to explain to me like geography, I was just like, I kind of don't care. But like for you, it's like music or acting or fitness or whatever. Like you're taking this like kettlebell course right now, bro, and you're spending probably hours on it, right?
Yeah.
And you probably enjoy the whole thing the entire time.
Yeah, man. It's true.
You know, it's just a weird sensation. I mean, not necessarily sensation, but experience that like different people are just like gravitate to like certain subjects, and like others don't.
Yeah.
And maybe it could be from how you grew up, like you said, because like at least for me. I looked up to my parents in the sense that whatever they said was right. And that's true because they're your parents. You know?
They're your first like model.
And you only understand what they do. And so for so long period of time, I thought...
You think you understand.
You think you understand, right? And you believe it's right. But then you never question it. And some people never question it at all.
Yeah.
You know? There's just like one quote that I read the other day that was, we question all our beliefs, except the ones we truly believe, and those we never think to question. You know?
Yeah. Isn't that what having faith is about?
Yeah.
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 Not just on like a religious like stance, but just in general.
Yeah. If you believe in, you know, I don't know, like vegans say veganism is the 100%. Carnivores say carnivore diet's 100%. Like Catholics, Christians, Jews, whatever, they say that's 100%.
Okay.
Right. And then that's like their beliefs. They never question them, you know? So it's weird to question them like grown older, because it's good to know that you're not wrong or that you could be wrong.
I think that beliefs of that type act as like anchors for people, and we all need something either to motivate us or to hold on or just help us exist depending on the situation
Just
that we're
to get through life.
Exactly, man. Sometimes it's all you have are your beliefs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
And it's scary to think that they might be wrong.
some people aren't in a position to question those because that's all they have.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
So they would never dare.
I guess I guess the people
if
who
that's your foundation,
they would.
And then that's taken. Yeah. What do you have? You know, just imagine.
There's no word.
Imagine you're on the street and you don't have anything, and it's just like my belief that if I do this, I'll be able to pull myself out of this particular situation. Sure. And then somebody tells you like, no, you don't have that. And now it's like, dude, talk about being broken, right?
Yeah.
It's tough.
I never thought about that. Yeah. Because I guess the people who are fortunate to question those deep beliefs are able to question it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
And again, perspective is such a big thing. I try and have conversations with as many people who differ in perspective than myself as possible, because it always helps me arrive at a new conclusion of some sort. And I always learn something from those conversations. So it doesn't matter if I like the person or I dislike them or I don't. I always try and make an effort to have a conversation with them if they're willing. Not everybody is in the position to have those conversations with people.
How do you actively go about that? Because like I love conversations with people. And I like learning about other people, especially in LA, because there's so many different. What ethnicity are you, bro? Because like
mixed with a bunch of things.
Yeah, so like you got a really good like look.
Thanks, man.
Different. Yeah, it's a really good look. But the thing is, everyone looks different out here, and they're from all over. Like I went to a wedding in Poland last year, and and it was just everyone around me was like 6 feet and white, which was like crazy. Because like I was like, there's places
like, where are you from, bro?
Yeah, and they were all nice.
Man. What do you mean?
They were nice. I loved them. Like one of my best buddies, it was his wedding over there, and I was like, wow, like I don't know, I've never experienced anything like this. So out here, like I love talking to other people because they're from everywhere.
Yeah, you do get that. Know? That's LA in a nutshell. I mean, why do people pay an exorbitant amount of money to live in a place that isn't necessarily the cleanest, right? There's something here that's drawing us here.
Dude, I think
the dream or an opportunity. There's
I think
a lot
Hollywood
of it.
Just fakes people, bro. When I see it's
all one big fucking fake, dude.
When I see the movies and these all clean stars, bro, and then the nice Venice Beach, Santa Monica Beach, and then dude, it's just not that.
It's perception that's created. Yeah, they're selling us on this. It's a damn good one though, because we're willing to buy in, even though other people who've been here for a long time realize that ain't how it is, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy. What motivated you to I guess get into acting? Because like you said that like it's you how you use it. You take these classes, you are testing yourself and getting in front of crowds and people and putting yourself out there. Yeah, exactly. But like what inspired you to like I guess start acting and I guess telling a story through acting?
I mean, I grew up watching a bunch of movies, terrible films, horrible. My dad would just like we'd be constantly watching movies together, which was our way of bonding. But go to the theater or we'd watch good films, B films, like whatever. It just like didn't matter. So there was always something to learn from all those pieces of art because that's where they were. It was somebody's baby at some point.
But were you trying to learn at that age? Probably not, though.
No, I was just very perceptive, I think. And I think that was one of the biggest ways. I think I've always been more of a visual learner. And so movies for me was that teacher, that book that I prefer not to pick up.
Sure.
You know, dialogue, listening to a conversation between two people and then getting an understanding of like certain types of people and how they interact.
You repeat it on repeat too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know if I was actually that good that I'd have like lines down unless it was very specific.
Yeah. I always find it impressive when people memorize movie quotes.
My sister's great at that kind of thing, but she's really good at like specific things. She's just an awesome memory, really. But yeah, I think that growing up, being exposed to film a lot, and then studying the greats without even knowing I was studying. Just like, I really like this actor. Like so if they drop something, it could be Denzel Washington. It could be Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. Didn't matter. Just people who like consistently put out quality work. Yeah. And then realizing the difference between that and like Jean-Claude Van Damme. And you're like, interesting. Right? Yeah. And you're like,
I want to be able to do the splits like that.
Exactly. Like, wow, that's awesome. Yeah, exactly.
And then Leo's dance in Wolf of Wall Street.
Like, the wedding reception.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Memes. You learn stuff through memes.
Seeing people move in different ways that you would never have imagined. That's the beauty of like acting. I think me too, growing up, one of my fears, I was such an active kid, always outside. I couldn't, when I started learning that people like went to jobs, they held 9 to 5s and they wore a tie and a suit, and
Yeah.
they were sat at a cubicle for 8 fucking hours a day.
Yeah.
I was scared to death. I was like, what am I gonna do with my life?
What age was that, you think?
Man, maybe like high school.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just like,
At high school you were thinking about that?
yeah,
Okay, not
Yeah.
even in college.
no, in high school, man. I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do with my life.
Yeah.
But I tried a bunch of different things growing up, honestly.
Sure.
So I had the opportunity to kind of explore a lot. I also quit a lot of things.
Yeah.
Some of that I regret, but at the same time, dude, life is just about experience, so it's all good.
Yeah.
You know, better because of it.
Back to
Acting.
why you got back in acting.
Yeah, so I mean, I got into acting because I was inspired by the people who were doing it really well. And I've
Yeah.
always been competitive, and
Speak
it's
a
like,
little bit closer, sorry, bro.
yeah, of course. And I've always felt like I wanted to perform at a certain level.
Sure.
And I think early on it was ego a lot. It's like, nah, I'm gonna be the fucking best at this,
Yeah.
or dude, I can do that, you know,
Yeah.
without actually realizing whether you could or not. But you just had this belief because you felt it.
Where do you think that comes from?
Shit, I wish I knew.
Because
it could come from anywhere, man.
Because at least from the friend group that we experienced together, like a lot of people have that, and it's nice to be around because it's very inspiring. Like the people who believe that way and are
You mean like the fitness community that we see?
yeah
Yeah.
like they all have like a similar story of like they believe in themselves. At least some of them, I mean,
Yeah.
most of them.
There's a certain level of confidence that comes with the people who are in those
Yeah.
places, and it's great because
Yeah.
that's the kind of energy you want to be around. Those are like movers and shakers. People are
Yeah.
getting shit done, or at least faking it till they make it. You know, a good friend of mine who was at the event actually on Sunday, she started in a completely different life professionally, and she found fitness over the pandemic, and we helped her find
Oh,
that.
just 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow.
And that's actually how her and Caitlin met, was at our place
Ah,
during the
what's her
pandemic.
name?
Gigi.
Oh, shouts out Gigi.
Yeah, what up? But it was
Gigi's
just
what's up?
so cool to see her kind of transform into who she is now, because she's grown
awesome.
so much within that physical space
Yeah.
that she's discovered a whole different part of herself.
Not just that, like a different world too. Like
Yeah.
literally, what other world is it that there's like 50 people who love fitness and health just working out together?
Yes.
And like sharing positivity, good vibes, good energy. Like I don't know another city like really in like, you know.
Well, you know what? The movers and shakers in other places of the country
They do
that
it.
are in this circle
Yeah.
or have helped start things here have either gone to branch out in other places,
Sure.
relocated, or they've
Yeah.
kind of connected with the people in those communities and are developing these spaces where people can
Yeah.
perform on this level with like-minded individuals. And it's cool because it's like, dude, we all get further together, right?
Yeah.
That's always the thing you hear at these things.
That's awesome that you like help Gigi with that, because that's the whole thing about personal training, bro. Like I don't love it anymore because I've done so many reps of it, like we
Okay.
talked about. But the clients that I do have, I've been with for like 4 or 5 years.
That's great.
And-
That's awesome, man.
No, it's
You-
good.
The rate of what do you call it? Not return. Just the how quickly people like the turnover rate.
Yeah.
The turnover rate for that line of work.
For the industry, it's a lot.
It's insane.
It's like 1
It's
week,
like 4
2
months,
weeks.
dude.
Yeah.
Like on average. And
On
I'm like,
average.
okay.
Yeah.
Never see you again. You
Yeah.
know? But I
But-
also think like if you provide them with lifelong skills,
Yeah.
then they may not need you after a certain point, and that's okay
Sure,
too. You
you're
know?
right. But the thing is, like, the helping people part. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I had this one guy, he was 350 pounds.
Wow.
Right? He lost 50 pounds in 3 months, and he was like, I could walk up the stairs now and I could carry my kid. It's like,
Wow.
oh, shit, right? And then there's, like, this lawyer. She was really insecure about her body. And then she started, one summer, she was rocking a bikini, and some dude asked her on a date.
Wow.
She told me that. And I was like, wow, like, that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
This kid has Crohn's, right? Crohn's disease. He's 13 years old. By age 16, not one sign of Crohn's disease is in his body.
Wow.
You're like, oh, shit.
Man, you've worked
you
with
know,
all types of the
all
population.
types.
Good
13
for you, man.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
Damn. This guy knows his stuff. Hit him up for all your PT needs.
No, don't. Actually hit Élan up.
He's like, I'm retired. I'm
retired. But back to your friend, like, those little wins make not just your life better, her life better, but the people around her and the people around you. So like what we say, what we do for like working out and fitness and everything like that are way more important than you think, you
Yes.
know?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Man, fitness for me, I got a few phrases that I live by. Fitness for me is the glue that holds everything together. It's always been the connective piece.
How so?
It's where I find clarity, you know, in terms of my mental state.
Yeah. Like when you move, your mind clears up.
Exactly. When I move my body, I just am a more effective person on all levels.
Yeah.
Emotionally, physically, spiritually. Like, it's just the dots, they connect a lot faster. You know,
have you always been in fitness?
Yeah, I've always been an active person.
Play sports?
Yeah, I played sports growing up. I mean, my parents would just put us outside.
What
and
sports
I'd be
did you
outside.
play?
I mean, I was a long distance runner for a long time. I balled for a while.
Okay.
But yeah, those were my big things growing up. I was running.
What was like
basketball.
the main sport?
I don't know if there was a main sport, honestly.
What was the
I
sport
just
that
like
you
moving.
loved the most?
I mean, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a track star, like an Olympic athlete. And
so running, you would say,
exactly.
in the beginning.
Yeah, sprinting. I loved to sprint when I was a kid. And then
what did sprinting teach you that you still live by today? Because like usually like at those ages, those developing ages, there's a coach or there's like some race that you were like, oh, this is a life lesson that I will live by for the rest of my life.
I mean, really, it taught me to check my ego because I think that was out of control for a long time. And people say it's like, oh, it's because you're a Leo, and I know nothing about astrology, so I can't answer. I can't answer that. We're not gonna have that conversation. Actually, the last podcast I was on 5 years ago was about astrology, and they were asking me what my birthday was and when I was born, and telling me my moons, and I remember nothing.
You're in LA. Why haven't you learned? Because I want to know. Because I haven't learned yet. And the first time I went on a couple dates out here, they were like, "What's your sign?"
Oh God. So I guess we can't be together because our signs are different. Are you a mature person willing to grow? Then we can be together. Like, what the fuck is going on?
That's such a Leo thing to say.
Yeah, exactly. A Leo DiCaprio thing, or because I fuck with that.
Leo's wild. I've been seeing him a lot at my restaurant. He comes in with like a black cap and just parties all the time now. Yeah. And I'm just,
why now? Is this new Leo? You mean he wasn't always partying?
I don't know.
You're like, he just parties all the time now.
At least I'm witnessing it now, so I guess it's now. Maybe it's been forever. Maybe it's been since Romeo and Juliet when he was 15.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I feel like, dude, he just lives a great life. Why would you ever... I mean...
Maybe.
I don't know if he lives a great life.
3 to 4 days of partying does not sound good to me.
I mean, there's worse things you could be doing with your life. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's true.
With way less money. But I think, like, it just depends.
Oh, for the running.
Yeah. That's funny. Good for you, man.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Good for you out here just meeting the Hollywood stars.
The lessons that you learned from running.
Oh, from running. Like I said, the biggest thing is like checking my ego because I would just let that rule everything about me. And if there was any fear or self-doubt or insecurity, which I had a lot growing up, and I didn't even realize a lot of times, I would let the ego take over in order to compensate. Yeah. And the older I've gotten, the more I've realized, like, dude, be honest with yourself. Be as authentic as you possibly can. Yeah. And generally it works out how it's supposed to, rather than letting something else kind of like control how you interact with people and how you move through this world, you know? Yeah.
It's so hard to think about that stuff too, because a lot of people are in their head and it's like you're not what you think you are. It's you are what you think they think you are.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Damn. That's a bar, dog. You sure you don't rap?
Not yet.
Give us 30 more minutes, y'all. The fire cipher. This is our cipher podcast. We just spit bars.
You know, and like sometimes, especially like when I was super insecure as a kid, because like I was the opposite. Like I was super into like soccer and like running track and stuff until 4th grade, and then I started playing golf, and you're not like running a lot. And I was eating bad, right? Okay. And so, like, I was, for, I think, 3 to 4 years of my life, like, I was relatively, like, on the, like, chubbier, non-athletic side.
Gotcha.
And, like, in those years where, like, maybe a kid might make fun of you or something here and there, like, affects you, like, a long time down the road. Mm-hmm. So, like, sometimes, like, I feel that way when, in reality, it's not that at all, objectively.
You mean you still feel like you're chubby, or no?
No. Huh. Like feel the feelings of when I was, like the insecurities of it.
I mean, it's a form of trauma, man. Yeah. It comes up in different ways in our life.
Talking about,
yeah, exactly. So you may have made the physical adaptation or the change, but it's like mentally, there's still something there. Yeah, and something can trigger it, and that's how I think too. I didn't really think about how I moved through life affected other people until I would trigger somebody, and then they would react in a very extreme way, and I'd be like, dude. I didn't even think about it. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that person has things they need to work through. And then I'm like,
Well, it's hard to think about it because you're always in your world.
Exactly. Exactly. But
And it's hard to balance it out. Like living, like trying to please everybody is like just not an option because it's kind of impossible.
Yeah. I agree, man. I
Yeah.
definitely agree with that.
So how did you get into fitness out here? Let's start. How did you get to LA? We'll just put it there.
So I grew up in a military family.
Okay.
My dad and
How was that?
it was a learning experience,
branch?
man. He served in the Coast Guard for 24 years, and he served as a civilian for another 10, and now he currently works for the government, and he's been in that position for like 2 years now.
Dang.
Yeah, he's been military his whole life.
Military man.
Straight out of high school,
Yeah.
Opportunity was there, and he was like, I need to change the scenery where I'm at. It's not working for me, and so this is the option that I have. So my family's from San Diego. My dad, that's where he chose to retire ultimately. After college, I moved back down there. Actually worked for Trader Joe's for years.
I heard the company is great.
It's grocery store wise, it's hard to get better.
I heard they give you benefits and like
benefits.
the hourly's high.
Yeah, the pay raise or the pay rate isn't bad.
Yeah.
The energy in the space is cool. The food is nice. Like, you get tasting sample. I mean, it's generally just like a more positive, upbeat store.
Sure.
It's like the Bay Area of grocery stores.
Sure.
You're talking about people actually say hi to you on a consistent basis. And you're like, everybody seems like they're enjoying their job here.
Yeah.
That's always what I would hear.
Yeah.
Everybody seems like they're happy at that place, right?
Yeah.
It was until I started to like resent it because I didn't feel like I was living up to my potential. And that's when I knew it was time to go.
Yeah.
But I also spent 10 years of my life there. So it's like, when you know, you know. So long story short, worked for the company after college for a long time because mentally I was just burnt out from college.
Yeah. Mentally burnt out from just learning, taking in a ton of information.
Yeah, man. Berkeley was stressful as fuck.
Yeah.
And I was partying a lot. So I was not taking care of myself.
Sure.
I was
So it's both.
performing a lot of overnight. All-nighters. And I was also just like being tested mentally in terms of like the subject matter that we were learning and how much I was like putting into it. And I just burnt myself out. And then, senior year of college, I was like, dude, I don't want to do this anymore. And I ended back in my dad's house after graduating with a degree. And, I avoided working in the industry for quite some time until I got a job in a cubicle. Industry job. Yeah.
What do you mean?
For a design build company.
Okay.
I was working as like a junior designer for him at that time.
For architecture? Mm-hmm. Why did you gravitate towards architecture?
The artistry. I grew up drawing.
So you just loved creating things. You loved drawing.
I love that, man. It was like access to space in my mind that was just so freeing, and I liked living in that space.
Did your parents support that?
Yeah. I mean, I come from a family of artists. My mom was an artist. My grandmother was an artist. My sister was an artist. So it was already there. And so, I would draw throughout my childhood. There was always something I was always in art class every year. I'd always sign up for art class, advanced art, whatever. I was just doing it. But I was very specific, very particular person in what I like to do.
Yeah.
And I still like that. I'm a very particular person. It's funny. One of my best friends now, I went to visit him last month in Oregon. He's like, dude, you're so particular. And it cracks me up. And I appreciate it.
What do you mean particular?
Just like the way that I function, the way I go about doing things, the way that I choose to operate and live life. Like if I'm ever in a relationship with somebody, those particular qualities tend to come out.
that was a dating plug, guys.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
anyone who's single out there.
Yeah, what's good? You like a particular man? Holla at me.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'll put his information below in the description. Put the website and everything.
Yeah,
his number will be there too.
There we go. Perfect. Speed dial. But yeah, so I worked, a mindless job for quite some time.
Trader Joe's.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, not very mentally demanding. Discovered like food and beverage around that time. Started bartending, doing things like that.
Sweet.
Dove into wine. Almost went down the sommelier path, becoming a sommelier.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna use these skills to get me to LA. And at that time, I had also like
What skills?
the food and beverage. I was like, I can get a job at a bar.
Yeah.
Wait tables. People do it all the time, and I can act at the same time. And probably like around 25 or so, I lost 2 grandparents.
Oh shit. Dude.
And so that was like the first time I had actually dealt with death on that level. And I think that also made me realize how finite life was, because I was kind of just like mindlessly trying to figure things out, going through stuff, and a lot of stuff was like foggy or a blur.
It's crazy that first time, because like they're there and then they're not.
Exactly.
And then you're like, it's the first time you experience that. Wow, like I'm here, and like one day I won't.
Yeah, and that's it. Now I think about that a lot, man.
Yeah.
The finiteness of life, and how, you know, so many people are trying to create a legacy, and a lot of times we do that through kids or family. But art for me is my baby, you know. And if I can create something that's impactful and meaningful, and it helps people to work through some things that maybe I wish I had when I was trying to work through those same things, then damn, that's it. That's lasting. The emotion that you help them deal with, or the emotions that you help them feel, like that's the only thing that really lasts, is how you made somebody feel at the end of the day. Like your name,
I think that
eventually people forget about that.
I think that might be more important than kids and stuff, because like you think about it, I'm not friends with my great grandpa. I didn't even know him.
Well, then that makes sense.
I'm being serious. And maybe
bro.
maybe that piece of art goes down like 20 generations. I went to Italy, bro, and I was looking at Michelangelo's David, and it made me cry, bro.
Nice.
And
Good.
I was like,
you felt it.
I felt it.
That's beautiful.
You know,
That's fucking
and I'm
beautiful.
like, this dude's way older than my great grandpa.
By a little bit.
Yeah, by a little bit.
They're probably friends though.
Yeah, maybe. Damn, they could be. I think about that.
Oh, it's funny. That's good. I mean, that's the power of art. That's how beautiful it is, man.
Yeah, so you moved to LA for art, not fitness.
Yeah, I moved up here for art, and then I found fitness professionally while in LA. The first job I got, because I saved up a bunch of money, quit Trader Joe's, because I ain't never going back to that place. I'll never work in another grocery store again. And I moved to LA with a chunk of change, and it was nice, because I'd been hustling for the past year, booking a bunch of stuff in LA. Yeah, exactly. Booking up. I mean, I still had to pay rent, but I booked a bunch of stuff in San Diego. Like, was shooting a lot, so I saved up a good chunk of money from like that. And I used that as a buffer when I first moved to LA, and I dove in, and I was like, for the first 3 months, I had no job. I was like going to open calls, casting calls, things of that nature, and just like taking it pretty easy. Sure. Keeping my overhead relatively low. And then like month 3, 4, I was like, okay, I should probably like start looking for a job, right? Yeah. And I started bringing my resume around with my headshot at the time and dropping it off at front desk jobs. It didn't matter wherever it was. Equinox, Studios, whatever.
Every resume has to have a headshot, bro.
It's true. You know, it's very true. I don't think so, but I did it anyway, because I had these old headshots that I was like, well, my look is changing, so I'm just getting rid of them.
Bro, you've had a lot of looks, bro. I was looking through your stuff.
Thanks, dude. You know, we just try and keep it versatile. But that's funny. My friend, a good friend, now, who actually I'm going to celebrate her birthday with her on Saturday, she gave me my first opportunity, my first job as a front desk like associate at the local boutique cycling studio in Santa Monica.
Which Soul Cycle?
No, Flywheel. They went out of business a few years ago, but they're like the sister company of Soul Cycle. Like one of the 3 or 4 founders from Soul Cycle opened Flywheel, started doing her own thing. Yeah, wasn't managed well. It was an awesome studio. Yeah. But yeah, eventually went out of business.
A lot of gyms went away during COVID, and it's super sad.
Man, they went out of business in 2018, bro. But yes,
there's a lot of new ones popping up too.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there will always be. That's the beauty of LA. Everybody comes here and tries to like set up shop in the United States here. There's so many new spots that are like big in Australia. Yeah. We're having the first one here in LA, and I've worked for some of those places, and it's like, okay, it all boils down, in my opinion, to the energy that's coming from management.
So that was kind of your first
my
intro
foot in the door, right?
To fitness.
Worked in fitness, started taking classes.
Okay.
At cycling. Hey, you move well.
At cycling.
Exactly.
They said you move well in cycling?
Yeah.
I don't know. You just pedaled, bro.
I mean, there's a certain form to that bike, right?
Oh, is there?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I did road cycling for a while. Okay. A cyclist in San Diego. But they were like, hey, we're starting a high intensity interval training class, like HIIT style,
at the cycling
place, like as a sub thing.
And you were still only front desk.
And I was still only front desk. I'm like, well, we want you should audition. And I was like, no. Kept saying no. I was like, I don't know if it's for me. I was shying away from it. I was like, dude, fitness for me is like therapeutic. I don't want to mix business and pleasure, you know? And it was like,
You were that guy.
Yeah, exactly. At least I thought I was, right? And I was telling myself that. And then I remember the first day of auditions, I was just like, wow, this is a lot. Because it was so new.
Yeah.
I didn't have any certifications.
How nervous were you?
I was fucking nervous, man.
Yeah.
It was like being on stage for
And
the
this
first
is like
time.
3 months in? 3 months into LA? 4?
This is probably like 8 months in.
Okay.
To that job specifically,
Okay.
close to a year of being in LA, probably like 10, 11 months.
Okay.
But I was just like, yo, this is a whole fucking thing. Whoa.
Yeah.
And I almost quit. I almost called and said I can't do it. And then I was laying on the floor. I remember I struggled. I was so exhausted. Struggled to
From
get
what?
just training that day.
Okay.
I struggled to get to the front door. I opened the front door because there's a back door to my room, and I just like lay on the carpet and the door is open. I'm just looking at the ceiling and I'm like, dude, I don't know if this is for me. Like, maybe I'm not meant to do this. And I was like sitting there, and I sat there for like 10, 15 minutes, just laid down, eyes closed, meditative, I guess, in some way. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, we're gonna see it through. And that was that. And the rest was kind of like history.
So like it went well. Like
I passed, but
yeah, okay.
dude, I think about the classes I taught 3 years ago versus the classes that I'm teaching now, and how much I've learned and evolved. And it's like, damn, we have grown.
Yeah.
You know, that guy was probably hurting some people. You know.
Yeah.
He's probably doing some shit that wasn't safe. You know.
Do you think so?
I mean, for like multiple reps, not like dangerous, but I mean like, dude. What are you having them do? Like, that's not necessary.
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to achieve? Why don't you do this instead?
It's kind of crazy because since you're educated about it now and you see new trainers do things and you're like, the people who are taking classes don't know that they are like 6 months in, 2 months in, 1 month into just like training. Does that make sense?
What do you mean people are taking classes?
So like the people who are training there, like the people who buy to take classes there.
Oh, like a group fitness studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't know how much expertise you have. They just know you're the expert in the class.
Yeah, they just take your word for it.
They just take your word for it.
Assume that you know what you're doing.
Assume that you know what you're saying.
But it's very interesting to see because you get different people, especially in Santa Monica,
Exactly.
right? So you get people who are like, they're pretty well versed when it comes to
Knowledgeable, yeah,
fitness
everything.
and their experience. And then you get the people who are like, I've never worked out before.
Yes.
And so it's cool working with both because they bring different things to the table.
Yeah.
Kind of like in the artistry.
Yeah.
You choose to collab on a track with somebody, and it's like this person doesn't really have too much experience, but they got this rich passion or this desire to learn or perform, and then you got this person who actually brings a lot to the table, and they're teaching you things. You know what I'm saying? Or you're learning things from them.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about out here because I've worked at a lot of fitness places out here as well, and I always like observing other people coach someone, or I like observe, or I will take other people's classes all the time.
Okay.
Because there's always at least one movement that I've never seen before, or one exercise that I'm like, wow, that's way better than the way I describe it, or their articulation, or like the better cue for like a push-up or a plank or like a kettlebell swing. You're like, oh, they said it this way, and they got that person to do a proper kettlebell swing in 2 moves versus it took my person 10 moves because I didn't explain it in as an efficient manner as this guy did.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to say his articulation.
Boom.
You know?
That's it, man.
It.
Learning. It's huge.
You know?
It's huge. And kettlebell is one of the more technique-driven moves in fitness.
Yeah.
Exercises in fitness. So, yeah, if you can teach people how to use kettlebells properly, you're in a good fucking place.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. Yeah.
I'm learning so much from this cert I'm doing right now, man. If you really want to learn some shit, the kettlebell realm, I suggest it.
The kettlebell realm?
I mean, like in that space.
What's the cert called?
It's through Kettlebell Coaches University.
Okay.
KBCU.
KBCU.
And Hunter
Architecture to KBCU, guys.
That's right, guys. You know, from building buildings to building bodies, baby.
Bars, guys. Bars.
I got bars, dog. See, they think I'm fucking around.
By the end, we're gonna clip everything. We're gonna have a full verse, guys.
Dude, hell yeah! Of everything we talked about, we're gonna wrap it out.
What were you saying? The form stuff. Yeah. Do you think kettlebells are the most complicated like things to use? Like I guess pieces of equipment.
I think any form of like powerlifting is complicated. Anything that's explosive.
The
in
Olympic
nature.
lifting. Olympic lifting stuff. The mobility stuff's hard because like I just started getting into Olympic lifting probably 2-3 years ago.
Nice.
And the snatches, snatches, like the overhead squat position with a barbell.
Yeah.
Like that's really hard for me.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And
Difficult, man.
yeah,
You
but
gotta work up to that.
But I understand it. Like I understand how the movement's supposed to look.
Okay.
And then I'm just like, my
But
body
how is
doesn't
my
do
body
that.
performing exactly?
Yeah.
Physiology has so much to do with like the greats anyway, how they're built, man. Like, you look at somebody performing a back squat who has long femurs.
Yeah,
Shout out to the long femur gang, LFG.
long femur.
Feel me?
Let's fucking go.
But yeah, like, dude, first of all, my hips sit in my hip pockets like in
Yeah.
a specific way, but like I have long femurs, so me sitting into a deep squat without getting the butt wink is next near to
Zero,
impossible.
yeah,
so
yeah.
I can't really get deep.
Yeah. Without
As opposed to somebody who can squat 500, 600 pounds because they have shorter legs and it's
Yeah.
just easier for them to hit the grass.
every legit powerlifter or Olympic lifter is like 5'5", bro.
Exactly. You ain't seen LeBron James out there, you know? Like, come on,
Speaking
man.
of, shouts out LeBron.
Yeah,
Hey.
that's right. He came to mind because, boom, the leading scorer, point holder now in the
Yeah.
NBA. Yeah. Impressive, dude.
He's been playing a long time. Are you a big ball
He
fan?
has. I was back in the day. Not so much,
Yeah, you
man.
used to play basketball.
Yeah, I used to ball a little bit here
Yeah.
and there. You know, they used to call me the undiscovered, the undiscovered, the missing Steph Curry.
He fucked up. He fucked up, guys. That doesn't count. That's not a bar.
Oh man, I can't tell you for real though. It's so funny. So Steph Curry, there's some resemblance there.
There is.
I'll admit.
I see
a
it.
little bit. There's a
Yeah.
little bit of resemblance there, but
Yeah. Objectively,
I feel
guys,
like
he's not.
objectively.
It's not his ego.
Exactly. My ego says I'm better looking than Steph Curry. Okay. Now me, no,
It's the eyes, bro. It's the eyes.
I'm telling you, there's slight similarities. But when I was a kid, I think that our kid photos, we actually looked very similar around like age 11, I feel like. And when he started like really finding success, that's when people were like, hey, do you know who we look like? And I'd be like, nah, who? Because it was like the same shit. It was becoming such a reoccurring thing when I was in San Diego. And then I moved to LA and it was almost never. And I was like, perfect. This is great. Also, maybe he had like, people were done talking about Steph. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is like 2016 when he really was hitting his streak and winning a shit ton. I was still on SD. But it's so funny because my roommate was big into sports. This is Berkeley.
College?
Yeah, in college. This is like 2009, 2010, 2011. 2009 when he first got drafted to the Warriors, Steph did. He's riding the bench or whatever. And my roommate at the time was like, dude, you look like Steph Curry. And I was like, the fuck is that? I was like, who? Who the hell is he? Obviously, he was nowhere near what he is now, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I remember like the last time I saw my buddy, we had a big like college reunion 10 years after college.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, people for the longest time were saying I look like Steph Curry. He's like, dude, I told you that back in college. Like, what the fuck? And I was like,
Oh.
okay. I don't remember.
I didn't care because he wasn't cool yet. My dad studied architecture and
Oh, wow.
he,
There we go.
he went to
He knows the struggle,
Cal
dude.
Poly. Yeah.
Which one, Pomona or Slow?
Slow.
Okay, Slow's cool.
Yeah, slow's cool. But like he found out early on that it's like really hard to make a fuck ton of money as an architect unless you're like the top 1%.
Of course,
Right.
man. Or you're willing to wait until you're 65 to break it, to
Right?
break through. And it's
Right?
like, who the fuck wants to do that?
Is that the reason why that you kind of
That's
like
one of the
spread
reasons
into?
why I was like, there's better
Yeah.
ways to make money in this bitch.
What things have you taken away from architecture though that have helped you with, I guess, like acting as well as fitness?
I mean, I don't know if I took these from architecture, but I did study architecture at Cal, so I'll just lump it all into the same thing. Critical thinking is the most powerful tool that I developed at Berkeley.
Yeah.
Hands down. The ability to think critically is like, it's like a superpower.
Can you give me an example?
Something happening at work or an interaction with a loved one or somebody that you met outside, doesn't matter really, but your ability to examine that experience and have a conversation with yourself about what happened in particular and how you should go about navigating that particular situation, right? Say there's some sort of like issue at work or whatever, and you told somebody something and then it got to somebody else, and now your boss has found out about it and they're calling you in the office. And it's like, how do I navigate this particular situation?
Sure.
You know, I have to think critically about this
Yeah.
to work through it. And so I think like a lot of our thoughts are like surface level. It's rare that we go into like deep conscious thought. But I think that's part of the whole critical thinking thing. And if you can perfect not perfect, but really like practice functioning in that mindset from that place, I think overall you're just in a better position to handle a lot of things in life with more poise and grace, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like you're at least patient about it too, because you're going to think about it before you react.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. It'll take time, which is
Yeah.
huge, because I think about like, such an emotion as an artist, I get myself in these places where it's like I speak from a place of emotion, and that can be good or bad depending on how it's received by the person that you're speaking to. Sure. Or the audience, I guess. But it's also like, that's part of the things that drives me to create to begin with, you know? So I think like big things, and I was thinking about it today, emotional intelligence. It's not really something we're taught, but it's so important.
I think it's the most important skill.
Dude, I was thinking about what are the most important skills that if you had to pick like one or two, what are the most important things? And I think having a very solid understanding of nutrition and emotional intelligence, you know, that's my opinion.
I think nutrition is probably parallel, just because food makes you, like, if you're eating a pizza and fries and shit, your mind is cloudy. Yeah. Can you critical think and have emotional intelligence like
exactly
that? You know,
like how effective are you going to be at having emotional intelligence if you don't have the tools already set in place for you to really thrive? You know,
and you
it's
need
like
it too.
Shit gas in a car.
Like I had 3 really good friends in college who were really smart but didn't really know how to talk to people properly, and they weren't very good at observing and like understanding.
I feel like you hear that a lot.
And I do. And then they got summer internships at these dope places, Facebook, Instagram, like super dope. And they
Based
just
on
had
a resume, huh?
Yeah, they just had to do well, and then they were going to offer them jobs there for like after they graduated. None of them got the offer. And it wasn't because they weren't good at their job. It's because they couldn't work with people. They didn't understand people. They couldn't work with the team. Wow. You know? And like then that epiphany, that scene, because like you had, we'll talk about it in a little bit, because that feeling that you had in high school, you're like, what the fuck am I going to do with my life? Yeah. Like that continued to me at least until past college. Like same. Okay. Same. And
finding my purpose was
right. And
difficult.
And seeing all of these friends of mine like go these avenues that they're like, oh, this is what I'm going to do, all this and that. I'm like, fuck. Like
seeing people find clarity, or at least you get the perception that they know what they want to do with the rest of their life, when really, who knows at that age, bro?
Sure. And then I saw that, but then I didn't see them get the job because they didn't know how to understand people, your emotional intelligence, right? And then that clicked in my head to like, oh, emotional intelligence is way more important than you think. And that's when I just started reading like self-help books and just like having conversations like me and you are having right now, and really diving into like people's processes and why they believe the things they believe, or why is fitness important to Élan, or why, what's his process in the acting? Because then now I understand like what your roots are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to have a foundation. I like explaining it because I don't think enough people, not enough, but I rarely have conversations where people ask like, well, why do you do the things you do? Because every time I do get asked that question, it forces me to examine that. And that's
what's your answer most of the time?
It can change, you know? A lot of times it just depends on the question, how specific it is to whatever subject. Yeah. But like in terms of the art, it's like finding my purpose. I think that one of the most important days of my life or periods of my life was like me finding what I was meant to do, discovering what I was meant to do on this planet. And then once you find whatever that is, it's just so much easier to move from a place of clarity. And it's so much easier to be like, say no to things that don't serve whatever your purpose is. Yeah. Not to say that you're going to perfectly execute things in order to make whatever your dream is come to reality, but I just find that it's easier to move without distraction when you know what you want to do, and when you're really like in love with that idea. I think that I've struggled with self-sabotage for a long time, and I think that is a common theme in the artist's existence. Like we're constantly doing things that pull away from this gift that we may have been given. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, how do you move in a fashion where you're able to capitalize on that gift without also tearing yourself apart or fucking yourself over, for lack of a better word?
Isn't it like just Nike's thing? Just do it and then like figure it out.
I mean, shit. The athlete in me wants to say, "Fuck yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting. That's super interesting. But at the end of the day, my opinion on this is like everyone's purpose is to like make things better. If that's,
I hope so, man.
If that's,
I really do.
At least like, yeah, that's what I hope.
Yeah.
But like, if that's through like a song, if that's through like fitness, if that's through whatever, it's just making the world a better place.
Improving humanity's existence.
Yeah, for the capital G good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the good.
That's dope.
There's like evil and then there's good. It's like, which one do you decide to do? One's going to make society better, one isn't,
Very true. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that generally speaking, like, we all want to see the world left in a better place. A lot of us just have so many things that we're constantly being bombarded with on a reoccurring basis that it's hard to actually see those things through.
Yeah. How do you see those things? Like, how do you, because there's so many people who experience the things that you just talked about, like the self-sabotage, the cloudiness, all these things. How do you stay, I guess, present enough to, I guess, like follow through? Because you're like proof that like you have done the things that you said you were going to do,
I mean, to an extent, I'm still working on a lot of shit.
Sure, I know, but like, just like everyone always can do more, but you already done a lot, I
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. Repeat the question one more time just so I can get back to that.
Yeah, so basically like everybody has self-sabotage. Everyone has like the negative thoughts about themselves and like all of those different things that you just talked about earlier. Like you could potentially still be in San Diego right now.
Yeah.
And like you never made that decision to move. You could still like have not taken that cycling class interview.
Yeah.
And you couldn't progress to being like a coach. You might not.
Yeah.
You never know.
Very true.
And something in you, I guess, like made you do those things, and like there's a lot of people who have those self-sabotage thoughts and commit to staying home. Those self-sabotage thoughts that keep them in San Diego, like what was, I guess, your intuition or direction, like if you could remember during those times that made you do those things that you didn't necessarily know would be the right thing for you?
That's such a tricky question because I feel like it's something innate almost. Maybe you're born with it. I don't know. It's just always feeling like you were meant to be doing more. And that you're meant for something greater than whatever particular position that you're in life at that moment. And so that's the motivator, the driver.
Yeah.
Realizing that like, and honestly, it can also help provide you with a sense of hope when you feel like, dude, I've hit a wall and I don't know where I'm headed. It's like, no, having faith, right? Yeah. That unbreakable idea that nobody can take away from you, that you don't question because
anchor.
you just believe it. It's your anchor, right? Yeah. That's been one of the driving forces. And I feel like,
how does I know you said it might be innate or in your nature, but if it's not, like what can someone do to try to get there?
That's great. How can somebody learn these traits?
Sure.
Essentially, I think it boils down to practice, man.
Guys got to practice.
You got it. Whether it's practicing functioning with a certain thought process, whether it's repeating a certain series of phrases that you wholeheartedly believe until you wholeheartedly believe them.
Yeah.
Whether it's, going out there and meeting people who are in the positions that you want to be in and seeing that actually I'm not that different from this person.
Sure.
I've had a series of conversations with them and I'm realizing we actually have a lot in common.
Sure.
Why are they in the position that they're in and I'm not in that position when I really do want to be in that position? Do I want to be in that position or do I feel like I want to, Yeah. It's just like...
do things that they do for a long enough time horizon, you'll get there.
Exactly. I mean, surrounding yourself with the people that you want to be like is huge. It's huge. There's no getting around that, man. I used to be like, nah, I can have whatever friends I want and still accomplish this. But in reality, if I'm spending time with those people, I really can't.
Yeah.
You know, not if they're not doing what it is that I want to do. You know, and the circle just gets smaller and smaller the older you get, because for one, you realize how, like I said, finite life is, and how much time how little time we actually have on this earth, and you want to expend it as effectively as you can with
You
people
said you
that you
think
love.
about that a lot now.
I do think about it a lot.
Why do you think about it? Because I think about it almost every day.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's like looking in the mirror. Once I started seeing changes in my body, I was getting older and I was aging. I was like, "Yo, this is real."
What, like facial hair or what?
Yeah, everything from facial hair to gray hair to fucking.
You don't have gray hair, bro. Get out of here.
I got a couple of the beard.
Oh, okay.
I got a couple coming up to like thinning hair or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh shit," because my dad's like bald. So
Okay.
like, sometimes I'm like, "Dude, my hair is getting thin."
Dude, my dad's bald too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Oh damn, I got the gene." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, "This is real."
Yeah.
But it's like, I also remember being 15 years old and my dad and being like, you know, making jokes because my dad was bald, and it's like, dude, you're here now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but would you rather be where you are now, or would you rather be Élan at 21?
I'd rather be a combination of the two, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, if I can get the youthfulness with the wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
You kidding me, bro? I'm killing it.
That's a good answer. No, I feel like that's everyone's answer.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like,
if I knew what I knew now back then, you know, like it's always the common theme, right?
Yeah, but with the youthfulness,
Exactly.
it'd be good. Yeah.
But that's the beauty of like, and I'm like, side note, I'm a big biohacking fan.
Okay. Like what? Just like life longevity stuff.
Exactly,
Yeah.
longevity, man.
Yeah.
And just like figuring it out, like, because think about it, I have good friends who are like,
you guys
so
don't see him right now, but this dude is absolutely diced, guys. Like, just go on his Instagram page, and he's on people's visions boards now.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's good. That's a good.
Is that
buddy of mine.
legit?
It's legit. That's my buddy of mine. I'm training him remotely.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
FaceTime?
his year. No, like I'm virtual training. Like literally, I'm gonna consult him. He might fly me up to train with him every like few months or whatever. But I'm creating like month-long programs and just sending him
full
to him.
programs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's good to go. I only do that for like very special people in my life because it's a lot of work, and I don't like giving virtual programs out because, dude, you can never charge enough for intellectual property, and I don't think people truly appreciate the work and the energy that goes in that stuff. And
You're
they're
right, but
always
there's a
looking
lot
like-
of people who give them out for free.
Exactly. And I think that's just like Hollywood. There's a lot of people. There's always somebody who's willing to be in a scene for nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll just do the scene because I'm trying to make it.
And spend 8 hours a day at
Exactly.
the place.
Exactly.
When you could
With
have
no
been
pay.
when you could have been at Trader Joe's making $25 an hour.
That's
guys.
right. Not living your entertainment dreams. But yeah.
Maybe preparing for them though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I got a little distracted, but what were we saying?
I don't know. I think we're good there. I wanted to ask you, how did it feel to actually see yourself in like a commercial or booking your first gig? What was that feeling of like, actually, this is what I intended to do, and oh shit, I actually got it?
It's cool. I think about because I've done so many auditions and self-tapes. I think about the ones that have stuck and they've resulted in like a national commercial or something. And like, what was it about that particular audition?
Yeah. I saw your 5 Hour Energy one.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, man. I remember that. That was crazy. Came in with the skateboard.
Yeah.
Walked in. I was super like just in my zone because I was like, dude, I can do this. When you're super confident and it can be felt. It's like that emotion that I was talking about through your art. Like when it's real and it's genuine and the people who are interviewing you can feel that shit.
Yeah.
Dude, it gives them confidence right off the bat to book you because they're like, oh, this is the dude.
This is the guy.
He gets it. You know what I'm saying? And every time I booked like a big thing, it's because I've been in that place.
Yeah.
I remember I went in for a K Jewelers commercial, and at the time, like I thought I had experienced my first like, dude, I love this person. And I was seeing somebody outside it, and I'm like, I legit love this person. And I was smiling because I walked into this audition, and I was thinking like, damn, we could get married someday, kind of thing, you know?
And you put that emotion into it.
And that emotion was there when I was during this audition for this K Jewelers, this engagement ring company, right? And so I was like, just talking about this girl, and like my face lit up, and it's like they could sense that shit, you know? And I think about it, it's like, dude, it's real. The feeling is real, and that's really what acting is, you know? it's how any art is. It's just like you're able to transfer that emotion to the art that you're putting out there, and it's so real that everybody just like, because these are common human emotions.
Yeah.
You know? People can feel it.
Yeah.
And when you make people feel shit, it just works, you know?
You get it. You book
They
it.
get
You
it.
book the job,
They get
baby.
it, bro. They get
Yeah.
it. That's it. That's the secret. I'm giving y'all jibs. No, seriously though. When I first,
Did it make you believe in yourself a little bit more when you? What was the first?
it made me feel like, oh, I can actually make it out here.
Uh-huh.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But it also helped me. If I was doing this for like, if I was doing stuff for ego or whatever, it was like, it helped me like kind of work through those things too. Cause it was like, I know I had something I felt like I needed to prove per se.
Prove to who?
Myself. It was always to myself, man. It was always like that insecure part of me saying like, you can't do it. Well, I'm going to show that part of me by doing it, you know? And then once you do it, then it's like, well, were you doing it because you truly loved it or because you were trying to prove something to an insecure part of yourself, to your ego, you know?
Yeah.
And, I do actually love it. And I took some time away from it so that I could find my financial footing because holy shit, man, being a struggling actor or artist in LA is the worst, man. I've been playing that role for fucking years.
Yeah.
Because I got up here in January 2018.
18. I got here.
Just celebrated 5 years.
19.
Nice.
19.
Yeah, to get here before the pandemic, experience what that was like is like, oh shit, where were you when that pandemic hit, bro?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, where were you?
I was in LA.
And what did you do during pandemic stuff?
We formed the Fit House, and we were literally turned our house into a gym.
Like you were living with trainers?
Yep, I was living with another trainer who was like a big coach for another boutique fitness studio.
Okay.
He's in that whole fitness circle.
So you did the same thing, like because we turned our backyard into a gym too.
And then we were doing like group workouts every week and donation based, and people were coming and just donating. And
that's lit.
Yeah, I had unemployment.
Yeah.
He was still working his job.
Sure.
And so it was like we were able to make it work. You know. It worked out. And that's actually how we met Gigi at one of those fucking things.
No way.
Yeah.
Dang,
now look at her.
bro.
She's in the community. It's
Small
crazy.
world.
Small world, dude.
What do you find enjoyment out of? Sorry, what enjoyment do you find out of, I guess, coaching?
I get to perform. I get to entertain.
Oh, you're
to
on
be
stage.
on the mic.
Yeah,
I'm on.
Yeah.
That's like as close as I get to the mic as performing. But I love that shit. There's nothing like getting up there and performing something that you're proud of.
Yeah.
I sit down. I take the time to create my program, my playlist, and music is such a large part of group fitness. And it's like I'm getting to hone two things in one.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting to really just develop my understanding of fitness.
Yeah.
Group fitness, personal training. I'm getting to understand, you know, the curation of music. I'm getting to combine the two, and then I'm getting up there and I'm able to perform. And it's like, I love when people are like, yeah, that was a great class. Yeah, that was a great class. Because it's like
affirmation.
Well, when you tell them like, hey, I got a great playlist for you and a good program, like this is what we're going to do. And they drop in and they trust you throughout that 45 or 50 minute period. And then they come out and they're like, dude, that was a great class. You're like, dude, thank you for just allowing me to take you on this journey. It was one hell of a time, you know? And that's kind of how I feel like it is when I'm on stage. I had the opportunity to perform a song of mine from my EP, the debut EP that I'm working on right now.
Okay.
For some
What's it
friends
called?
I haven't decided yet, man.
Okay.
Originally I was going to call it Grow.
Okay.
Because that's like the first single off the EP. And actually it's what I got tatted on the back of my neck.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, dude, it's just something. There was a few phrases that really stuck with me, especially during the pandemic. And coming out of that, I decided to like put them on my body. It's just like a reminder, affirmations of sorts. But I was going to call it Grow, but now I'm thinking leaning hard lately. Like I've been leaning hard lately. Like
I've been
leaning more
hard.
into my passions. LHL. Yeah, LHL. That's what's up.
That's what's up.
But yeah, man, that's like, lost my train of thought.
All good. No, we were just talking about how like the feelings that you get from coaching.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's just like the opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Just, life is about growth. That's the number one mantra. And I apply that idea to everything. I try to apply it to everything that's of importance or anything I'm considering pursuing. Like, can I grow within this space? Will this position or this opportunity help me grow?
Yeah.
If so, even if I'm fearful, I need to take the risk, you know?
Yeah. Ever since 2013, since I started, or 2014 is when I started working out, 2013, 2014.
Okay.
I always put like a hashtag get better today. on
Nice.
every single workout post.
Nice.
Because at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do. You're just making things better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What's your advice to, I guess, like the little kid out there or the 20-year-old who like wants to be that fitness coach, who wants to book his first like commercial, who wants to like do those things that I guess you have done, like, but they don't know where to start, and they live in some small town in buttfuck Egypt?
Oh man.
Move, guys. That's the first thing.
Perspective, man. That puts a lot of things in perspective. I think be real with yourself about what it is that you really want. Take time. Take the time if you can. I know not every situation is ideal. Sometimes you need to get out of a bad situation, but take the time to really figure out what it is that you want, and don't feel like you have to be rushed to pick something in particular right out the gate. Take time to develop yourself and learn who you are. That's the number one thing I would have done. Early 20s, late teens, is just taking more time to explore who I was, to travel, to experience new things, to gain new perspective, to speak with different people, because that would have helped me tremendously. So I didn't feel like I had to travel in one direction with a series of speed bumps, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so take time to figure out who you are, and then once you do, really commit to that thing.
Yeah.
Pursue
The
it
committing part is hard,
wholeheartedly, man.
bro.
It's hard.
Because
It takes practice, man. Just doesn't happen.
Yeah, because like I always tell people, like, for example, like this podcast, like I started it 2 years after when I wanted to.
Okay.
Like, to actually decide to do it. And I've been doing it for 2 years, like almost.
2? Wow, man.
2 years.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you. And like the first ones are so bad. Like it's a shitty mic.
Yeah.
Like one of my buddies.
You don't realize until you're in it.
You don't really, because you were just talking about your classes.
Yeah.
Like you imagine you coaching 2 years ago. You're just like, what was I doing?
Yeah, fuck
you know.
that. Yeah, no, for sure.
What are you doing?
You also think like,
But you have to go through that process to get to where you are. Like,
and a lot of times
that's
you don't
just it.
realize. Somebody could tell you like, yo, I've been doing podcasts for a while and do not use this thing. But
Yeah.
you're like, well,
Sure.
Or this is my budget, so I'm going to do it anyway. And then you realize like, oh man, I should have invested. You know, like that's how it is, man.
Yeah.
You don't. It's like your parents telling you not to do something, and you're you knucklehead kid. And you're like, nah, man, I got this. I know better.
Yeah.
When
It's
you
like again
probably
that ego talking.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I don't know what it is about like youth and like being like, nah, we got to blaze our own path. But like so many people are like that. I
Yeah.
was like that when I was growing up. It's just like
Yeah.
this common thing with kids. Like they feel like they got to blaze their own path. They got to do it themselves.
Sure.
When in reality, like, dude, there has been a million, billion, quadrillion motherfucking people out here who have walked or experienced the emotions that you're feeling in whatever
I
moment
just
it
don't
is.
think that at that age you see that.
Oh no! How can you, man? Things
Like-
are not developed as they should be, right?
Yeah.
So if that's why it blows my mind when you find these like prodigies or whatever you want to call them, these geniuses who are like so young and so clear in their mental state. I'm like, dude, that's wild. That's ego. It's unnatural. It goes
Yeah.
against who we are as humans. How did
Yeah.
this happen, right?
Yeah.
It's so fascinating because it's like, dude, they're able to function in this place because they've been given some sort of gift or a curse, depending on how you look at it. But it's just
Sure.
like, wow, that's wild.
Yeah, like Elon says this all the time. Like Elon Musk, he's like, you don't want to be as smart as I am. Like, you know how much shit I like fucking think about. That's like I can't fall asleep because I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like
Pros and cons to everything.
yeah,
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
what do you call it for fitness? Is there any like goals in fitness that you want to like achieve? Like besides, because you're obviously getting this kettlebell cert and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. For example, for me, like during the pandemic, it was to hit 50 pull-ups straight. I never got it. I hit 33.
Wow.
But like,
Dude, that's impressive, dude.
thank you. It was a lot lighter too. So I feel like pull-ups you have to being lighter helps.
Yeah.
But I guess for you, is there any like fitness goals or what you want to do with like your fitness career that in the future, or are you pretty content where you're at right now? Is it like more of a career, or is it still like funding like what you want to actually do, like acting and everything like that, or is it pretty even field with the acting and everything like that?
I think in terms of fitness goals for the future are to continue to develop within the space. It would be nice to find something where I can perform on like a global platform, expand my reach, but also still get to like entertain, right? Combining great music, great programs and leading huge like workouts, whether it be for like, you know, the Lululemons or the Pelotons or whatever. I think that would be nice, you know. That'd be a next step, a level up.
So that's something you would want to do?
Yeah, I'd be down.
Okay.
I would be down. Experience what that's like. And also on-camera work is just a whole nother thing within any space.
Yeah.
It really takes a very specific
coach or whoever
person and like a very specific like type of coaching to be able to perform in that way, because those on-camera things reveal everything. So anything you're in your head about that
you see it on your face.
Yeah, you could see it on your face. Like you hear it in your voice. If there's anything you're not confident about, or you stumble over some words, like the camera is unforgiving and it picks up everything. And it's not like you performing live for a group of people who are in their head about their own shit. So they're not picking up on half the things that you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, and you wouldn't notice this unless you were to like watch that film back. It's like a great athlete who watches film. They watch it for a reason, so they can perfect every move, every minute, every second of the plays that they were running throughout that game.
Sure.
It's like the same when you're filming yourself for a self-tape, or you film a live performance. You know, if you were to go up there and perform for whatever, or if you were, like I said, doing on-camera work for some major fitness platform, like you just notice things and you're like, oh, I can operate differently, or I need to change this about this way because it's not perceived, or it's not being picked up how I want it to be picked up, you know? So.
Okay, cool. So like, do you think, I don't know. So I've been struggling with this thought that everyone can't do everything. Meaning that like,
True.
Meaning me and you both have a lot of things that we like doing. Like you just said, it's like music, acting, like fitness for you. For me, it's like podcast, bitters, bartending, personal training, like all these things. And like, I struggle with the thought that you could be the jack of all trades and master of none type of the thing that everyone says there. And it's like, can I really get fucking good at bartending or podcasting if I'm doing all this other bullshit? Or can I evolve altogether and everyone says like now everybody does everything, you know? And I'm just like,
But how well do they do everything?
Sure.
Yeah.
And I just don't know like I don't know which one's like right, you know?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because it's something I struggled with for a long time and I still struggle with.
Yeah.
I think honestly, you just have to follow your heart, man. Because the things that you're truly passionate about in this life, those are the things you're going to invest your time in, and those are the things you're going to get great at.
Yeah.
And if you're not,
but what if it's like 5 things?
Cool.
Just do all of them.
How passionate are you about them? How much time do you allocate to each thing?
Do you think there's a level of passionate though? It's either you are or you're not.
I think it's a level.
You think so?
Yeah, because some stuff is like I'm in love with this versus I like it versus it's just something I do on occasion. It's a good way for me to kind of like.
I think by definition though,
chill.
like passion is like you're so deeply dived into it. Like you might like something.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Exactly. But I think like there's stuff that you're like willing to sacrifice weekends with friends or even weekends with, you know, a partner to pursue. And those are things you're like, okay,
That's
if I'm
deep.
willing to give that up,
That's deep.
then I do love this thing. And that's what I'm meant to be doing. I love this more than my love for this person that I love, you know, not to say that, you know, the two need to be compared or you ever need to be in a position, but I've gone through plenty of romantic relationships because it's been like, I didn't think we were aligned. And honestly, I loved the art more than I actually was in love with that person, you know? And so
It's hard to say, dude.
what do you mean?
That what you just said.
What do you mean? It's hard to say.
It's hard to say that you love some not human more than this human that loves you tremendously.
I know. It's hard. But
no,
I mean,
like
honesty,
it really
though,
is. Like
it's
a lot of
important to say
people,
that.
a lot of people won't ever say that because, like, objectively, it just doesn't make sense. How can you tell me this a business or like this gym or this YouTube channel or this music career means more to you than me?
Yeah. Well, you know, I feel like if that person you're with has to convince you that you should be loving them more, then they're probably not the person anyway.
Sure.
Because the truth is, you love those things, that inanimate thing, that idea, that art, because of how it makes you feel, right? Well, how you feel when you do it. And
Yeah.
it's like, if you don't love the person you're with because of how they make you feel, how you are when you're with them,
Yeah.
then what do you guys have? You know, like that's all. Like I said, it boils back down to the experience, the emotion. That's what life is about. Those most memorable moments.
It's like that,
you create.
It's like that shit. But then you're like, human anatomy is like, I need to like go have sex with people.
Oh yeah, of course, man. I'm not saying I'm out here celibate like a fucking monk like Zid did. Hell no.
Élan's a nun out here, guys.
Yeah, so don't try. I'm not interested.
Yeah, what's that movie that has
I'm
like
married to the gang, baby.
married to the These bars are gonna be
fucking so fire. I can't
so
wait for
fire.
people to experience this magic because I'm dropping some shit, man.
Speaking of music, like
Yeah.
you just told me before the podcast that you just started, or was it during the podcast that you just started music 4 years ago? 2018.
I wrote my first like lyrics with the intention of writing lyrics and not just fucking around like 2013.
2013.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it's a really weird concept that you're just gonna take time out of your day, not work, not anything. There's no output for your input. So basically, there's not gonna be no result for you just taking 5 hours of your day writing.
Yeah.
But you decided to like write that day in 2013.
Well, I love to write to begin with. So I enjoyed writing creative essays and things of that nature when I was growing up. So
But
it was always a joy.
this isn't even like
passion,
for
love.
school. This isn't even for college.
No.
It's just for yourself.
No.
Yeah.
But I just enjoyed it. I remember the feeling it made me feel, and it was like I felt like I had something to say. So it's like, well, how do I say this? Like, okay, cool. Like my thing with my music now is like having an impact, but also how do you reach the most amount of people in the most efficient manner? And it's like musically, it's huge. It's a great opportunity to spread a message of some sort.
Yeah.
And to mobilize or to unite or whatever, you know. And so if you're trying to get some sort of point across or connect with people on a greater level, then what better way than something that can reach a large demographic?
What did you write about in 2013 when you first started writing songs?
It was more introspective. A lot of my stuff is introspective. It's like examining.
What does that mean?
Like examining my sense of self, who I am. Like doing an internal look at the emotions or the feelings that I'm dealing with, and like bringing that out and creating art from it. And a lot of times it's like feelings of self-doubt or insecurity or anxiety or like Grow, my song Grow is about growth. That's really what it's about. And it's like a auditory like blueprint for where I see myself going. I start like talking about where I was, you know, mistakes that were made, you know, relationships that I lost, and then it moves more into like a statement of like intent for the future, and that's the hook essentially.
Yeah.
Coming from the verse, which was like where I started, to a second verse, which is like, this is where I'm headed. This is what I hope to find. This is what I plan on seeing, back into a bridge, which is more introspective, and it's still kind of working through some of the thoughts that I don't necessarily share with people, but they really speak to me. And then it finishes with that hook, that statement of purpose kind of thing. It's like,
so you're saying that you won't necessarily share this with people, but you would share it in a song.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in a conversation, you might not necessarily bring it up, but like if you had enough time to write it down and actually articulate it, like this is the message that I want to tell people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. It's interesting.
What's the importance of, I guess, like letting those emotions out and telling people about them?
Creating something that's bigger than yourself, something that's lasting, man. You know, trying to find connection with people.
Well, the emotions in you, level, that's right? What I mean.
What do you mean?
A lot of people like build up that anxiety, build up that depression, build up that like self-doubt, and they just don't tell anybody. Like they look very content on the outside. They look very just fine. Everything's ho-hum, jolly people. But then they drop this song or whatever, and
people don't expect it.
You don't expect it.
Yeah.
But also they might not never drop that song, and it's stuck in them for forever. And what would have happened if they released what they said that's inside? Because like in my opinion, like when I write, it's similar to like working out. Like all this energy has to be released somewhere. For you, is it that way?
I mean,
or is it just because like you want to talk about those things that you're thinking about? Like, is there a need for it?
Somebody else asked me that. She was like, I let somebody hear it, and they were like, "Yo, like, where do you even come up with the idea of what to write about?" And I was like, just having these conversations with myself, man. Like, things that I struggle with. I'm the kind of person that, like, if something happens and it doesn't sit well, I'll churn, and the gears will turn, and I'll think about it over and over and over and over again, trying to work through what it is. And eventually,
Why do you think that is?
I just think it's the way my mind works. But it works. It works particularly well when it comes to like creating something, because it's like I'll sit with that and I'll churn, let it churn, and I'll write and I'll rewrite, and I'll write and I'll rewrite, and it's like now until I'm at a place where it's really speaking to me, and I'm like, that's what I've been trying to arrive at. That's the conclusion. That's the statement of purpose. That's the lyrics that I think will have the most impact. And so this is what I'm settling on. This is what's going to come out, because this is what I can create at this moment in time. And I feel like it's done.
So after you write those things and like put those emotions on the page, like, what's your process for recording it? Like,
I like to learn. I like to make sure I have everything memorized, and then practice performing it. Different emotions.
Without any music.
Both. A lot of times, like
is
cliche as it is, like the thoughts come, I'll start rapping in the shower. Like it's like, for a lot of artists, like, to tap into the space in their mind where they're able to create at that level, that's like, oh, this, what you're putting down, some good content. They have to be able to turn off the part of their brain that's telling them like they're not good enough, or I got to go do this, that, this, and this. Like, the logical part of their brain, they have to tap into the other place. So a lot of people will be doing something else. It's like using distraction as a form of creativity. And Rick Rubin talks about this in his book, or a form of an outlet for creativeness. It's like, I go and I take a long drive because I'm able to like zone out, and also like I start freestyle and I start thinking about stuff. I like to be, and I thought about this a lot, like different wavelengths. There's like alpha, beta, theta, delta, or something like that. Okay. I don't know which ones are which, but essentially it's different brain wavelengths, and your mind functions in a certain place and a certain caliber within these different stages of like brain wave activity. Okay. And so like there's like a sleep state, and it's like you're being able to tap into your unconscious mind in that particular wavelength, but you're not conscious. So it's like, how do you do that? Like this last song that I created, which I'm really like happy with, is, it's interesting because I was writing the night before. I had just gotten back from a celebration of life. A good family friend had passed away, and I had a lot of good conversations with people I hadn't seen in like 15 plus years. And I was in this place where I was like, dude, I got to create. Life is short, kind of thing. So I'm writing. I wrote something that I'm not even sure if that'll ever turn into anything. But I'm like, where am I?
Do you do it on your phone, or you just actually write it?
I like to take pen to page. Okay. I feel like it's something about moving my hands and like writing. But texting is like, there's this disconnect for me, I think. And also, I usually end up writing late, and I don't like being on my phone super late because it just keeps me up. But I wrote till pretty late, and then I was like, dude, I'm exhausted. And then I went to bed, but like the gears were still turning when I went to sleep. So eventually I fell asleep, and I remember being kind of half awake in the morning, and like I got to get up, and like this phrase pops in my head, and then I'm like, oh shit, that's really good. And then like I add a second bar, when I'm like half asleep, and I'm like rapping kind of, and then I'm like, I gotta wake up before I forget this. Because like when you have a vivid dream, and it's like intense and very emotional,
you need to write down right away.
You gotta write away. Yeah. So I'm like, I gotta write this down. So I wrote down, flesh out 4 bars, and I'm like, damn, these 4 bars are good. I'm like, I gotta write a full 8 because it's gotta be for the hook. Yeah. And that's kind of how it happened. And the next thing I'm like, I have a really good hook. Dude, this could be a really good song. Okay, what's the next step? Sit down with my producer.
So you have a producer. You don't produce everything yourself.
Oh, fuck no, man.
Okay.
Not now. Honestly, if this was my full-time job, I would be doing all those things. Okay. But it's just easier to have a team, man. Yeah. I swear, when you're trying to make it and you're balancing a lot of things, definitely. Sure. But that's something I look forward to, like diving deeper in as I progress within the space. But
so
anyway,
you hit your producer up.
Hit my producer up.
Do you have like a melody in your head at all at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I'm delivering the lyrics in a certain way, so there's a melody kind of built into those. Okay. And so I hit him up, and I'm like, yo, I got this hook. He's like, can you record it for me and send it to me? And generally what I'll have is like the lyrics, the delivery, the cadence, all that, like the flow, because I'm rapping it a cappella, but I'm rapping it to like a metronome, so there's a certain BPM associated. I'm like, this is the BPM. Can you make a beat? He's like, let me do this, and he'll take that voice memo that I sent him via my iPhone, put it on loop, and then he'll build a beat around that particular thing. And
so
then
the beat's not already made.
Nah, I rarely write to beats because I have somebody who can help me create it from scratch, which is a game changer.
That's
bro.
a privilege for sure.
It's a privilege
Because there's a lot of people who like will find like a beat that they like, and they might have something already written, but they won't say it the way that they wanted to say it initially.
And I think you can do that too. It really just depends on the person, your preference, and also how much that beat speaks to you.
Yeah.
Like sometimes what will happen, it's easy to fall in the trap where I hear a beat and I'm like, oh yeah, that was dope. Okay, I think I'm ready to write a song to this. And then I'll listen to it like a week later or 2 weeks later, and it's like, nah, that wasn't as cool as I thought it was when I first listened to it. Why is it
that happens though?
I think our ears are generally just like, we like hearing new shit.
Well, it's not just that. It'd be like you wrote this thing and then you're like, this is the fucking shit. And then like 2 weeks later, you're like,
you've grown, man.
This is a piece of shit.
You've outgrown, which is crazy and that's why it's like writing shit.
But in your head at that time, though, you think it's the greatest thing ever.
I know. I always think about that. And that's a test. Write something, write anything.
Yeah.
And then if you can come back to that after leaving it completely dead, or if you find yourself repeating it over and over or rapping those bars that you wrote for like the next 3, 4, 5 weeks, there's something there. And you're like, dude, there's something here. I wouldn't keep rapping this if it was whack. It wouldn't have stuck.
Yeah.
And that's what you want, because you want shit that sticks.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think that makes art stick? Because there's like the music part of it, right? That like the classics that I don't know if you're a fan, but like, I don't know, Beatles or like Queen or I don't know, like some of early Dr. Dre, whatever, like they stick, right? Or pieces of art like Michelangelo's David or something like that they just stick. That's that legacy for that piece of art, and then people appreciate it in that certain way. But for me, I'm like, why is this statue sticking when this other statue looks very similar? It's not giving the emotion that David did. Maybe that's a little key, but objectively it's very similar shit. Or this song is really good. It spoke to me, but why isn't it sticking to like the rest of the world? In a large manner. Like, what do you think? What are the characteristics of the art that like sticks to people?
I think it's the process from the artist who created it, because I think there's a lot of people who are very skilled, but
the process,
not just the intention, but not settling for anything less than the vision that they have for this. Somebody who's willing to like create something great, take some time away from it, listen back, like, that's actually not what it needs to be, but I'm not going to trash it. I'm not going to scrap this because there's something there. It needs to be here. Or collaborating with other people when they're creating something particularly, and you're like, what is it? What is it about this project? Or they're trying to meet you halfway, and you're like, this is what I want this to be at, but they're not necessarily producing it, and you refuse to just settle. Like, I won't settle because this is what I envisioned for this, and this is the shit that's going to be timeless. What we're creating here is going to be classic, but we have to get it right. I think that's
interesting. That's interesting too. That's funny because I don't think you got to the book yet, but Rick Rubin talks about planting seeds, right? And that's planting seeds through, I don't know, this one song or this one idea that you have, and he compares it to just like actual it's not biology, the science of plants, whatever that is.
Botany. Yeah.
And he was talking about like, some seeds don't make roots for years.
Yeah.
And you have to keep watering it though, and you have to keep feeding it nutrition, and it might not get a root for years
or ever.
Yeah. But it still might in 2 to 3 years. Yeah. And that's the same with your ideas. Like, you got to still you have to remember where you planted it, and you have to remember to keep watering it once in a while. And then 3 years down the road, that shit grows, and you're like, what the fuck? Yeah. And that's basically what you just said. Like, keep it there. Like don't just let it go.
It's true, man. I mean, it's a labor of love and a passion, and I think you have to go on the greatest thing about, or the hard thing about creating great art is like, knowing or accepting the fact that it may not go anywhere, but you're creating it with such a strong intention, like I said, that you're refusing to settle with any particular thing because you want it to be great, or you realize the greatness that it could turn into.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe, but it's just like, it's that driving force, man. It's like you channel all that passion and that rage and that anger or whatever it is that you're bringing to this, the fuel that you used to create it, and now it's in the work itself, and it's just fucking hitting exactly how it was meant to hit.
Yeah.
You know, that's fucking hard. I haven't mastered that, dude.
Yeah.
It's like every time I create a track, maybe I get a little bit better at it, but I got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I like what I'm doing. I think as long as I continue to get get with every project, then it's worth it.
It's worth it.
That's the big thing, man.
Do you ever have this, I think about this all the time, that like we live in a world of creatives, right? Like I also feel like fitness is creative too, just because like everyone has their different, basically you're putting together some art to make this body a sculpture. You're sculpting your own body. You're sculpting other people's body, right? So the things that you say and tell them and eat or whatever is you're making their body change, and that is art, right? In my opinion. But on the other side of it, it's, if you look at, I don't know, music that you're talking about, or movies, and sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, is this shit important? Like, is this podcast important? Is this song important? Because if you look at society in general, like, we need bankers, we need architects, we need doctors, we need those things too, you know? Do we necessarily need like the creative space? I mean, like, I think so. I can't articulate why.
I think it depends. I think that it depends on the era and the world in which you live and what's valued based on the way in which that world operates. I think modern society, bankers, architects, all those things are valued at a certain level because we see the benefits of the work that they do in real time immediately. And we're so consistently connected with those things.
Yeah. But you also see the value of, I don't know, like look at any famous sports player. They get paid hundreds of millions of dollars, right? That's way more than a lawyer or architect or whatever. And you're like, oh, how is that more valuable than something that's more practical for our lives?
I think that stuff serves as, for lack of a better word, inspiration, and also, and people are probably not going to agree, some people will disagree or agree with this, but like distraction, man. Distraction from everyday life, you know, of the common folk, you know what I'm saying? Like, to see somebody who's up here at this level performing in this position, it's inspirational, and it also provides me with a sense of hope of whatever. You know, it could be the American dream. This person from rags to riches pulled himself up, performed great, and now look at him. Like, that could be my kid or whatever else. Who knows? You know, anything is possible. That is the American dream, or is this the dream? And they act as a source of inspiration for people who, dude, I'm a janitor, man. You know, like I make ends meet. I support my family, but like this isn't glamorous in any way. But it's cool to have people like that. Who are quote unquote role models or like heroes of mine in the sports world. Who inspire me to, you know, just maybe devote a little bit more time and energy to my kids' little league, you know, or whatever. So, you know.
Oh, I feel you, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah. I just find it like wild that people go to like this huge concert or the huge basketball game. And or soccer game, big soccer. They're like thousands of people pay attention to these things. And you're like, wow, like this is just entertainment. This is just distraction from your like daily life. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, man. I'm not really looking for distraction. Too many distractions these days. As an artist with a goal, it's already doing a lot of things. It's like, I don't need any more distractions, man. I need focus. And to hone in. And so that's one of the reasons why I don't Did
really
you say you have a kid?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's why
that was an example.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. I was like, damn, this guy is doing everything and has a kid. I was like,
shit. Oh shit. I never see him on your Instagram. You don't love him, dude. No, man, no. I've no kid, which is I can't complain about because that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
We get into that, but yeah, it's a whole nother road.
Obviously you probably have friends who have kids, right?
Yeah,
I have friends who have kids.
Most of my friends are getting married and have kids.
But no one out here in our friend group is getting married and having kids. Maybe married. Okay, married's there.
Me, but I'm
out
also
here.
Yeah.
Like in LA.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
not in our particular friends group, but a lot of people in the group, they're not in the group anymore because they're pregnant. You know, like they're not working out with us.
All my friends
like
who
the
are
old
married...
photographer who would have done the videography for us. He's married to one of the people who was an athlete who used to come to all the workouts, and they're about to have their kids. So it's like they're not at the workouts anymore. You know what I'm saying? So
that's just a crazy thing though, because like a lot of my friends who are back at home in my hometown, like they're on their might be on the second kid. They have a house. They have their their yard.
There you go.
But also like their mortgage is like less than rent out here. You know?
Oh really?
Yeah.
Daily Silly's not bad, huh?
Oh no, sorry. I grew up in Fresno, California.
Oh yeah. My boy lives in Fresno. Like one of my best friends from college.
What's his name?
Drew Wilson. He's like 85, born in 85.
No, I know.
But he's like older cat. But
well,
he actually
the Wilson family. The Wilson family's big in Fresno. I don't know if the same Wilson.
I don't think it's the same because I don't think he comes from like wealth and things of that nature. So if they're wealthy, then it's probably not him.
Okay.
But I went to college with him and I met him there, and he was a few years older than me at the time. We were both transfer students, and his goal for studying city and regional planning at Cal, because it was under the same College of Design.
Sure.
They had a city planning department, and they had like an architecture school, whatever. He wanted to put Fresno on the map, so he went back after graduating and has been working with the city since then, and it has always been his goal to bring Fresno.
The Fresno is on the come up though.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's because of Drew Wilson.
It could be, man. Shout out to Drew B. Wilson. Listen to this podcast.
Let's go.
Hey, remember when we had that fucking radio show, college radio at 3 a.m. in the morning, dude? Shout out to Cal X.
Cal X, baby.
Biggest college radio west of the Mississippi. Holla at us.
Holla at them.
I was so real. He was I was DJ So Real. He was DJ Fresh, and together it was the So Fresh radio show
in college.
Yeah, in college, which is so funny. We were disc jockeys. That was an experience in itself. He got me into that, but it's like meeting people like that where they were so influential in my creative development and have always been supportive.
Sure.
Like those are the guys that like I'll never forget, because it's like they helped put me on game in a way. Gave me confidence to try.
Isn't it crazy that like friends who like say like, hey,
we should do this.
Hey, Élan, or you're like, hey, buddy, like, should I do this? You're like, yeah, for sure. And then, like, because if that person said, definitely not, like,
you probably would have not done it at all.
Probably wouldn't have done it. That's why they're important, you know? And, like...
Absolutely, dude.
And it's shitty when, like, friends do say that to other friends, because you might be closing a door.
Stifling somebody's fucking growth, man.
Yeah.
For sure. Before it even starts. But also, I feel like if you have good people around you, then that won't happen. Because people generally, if they see something in you, a lot of times good friends see something in you that you can't see.
Sure.
And so if you tell them you want to do something and they're like, dude, that aligns with what I've always seen you doing, but you never had the confidence to do it, I'm going to say yes, because I want to see you become that person, because I've always envisioned you doing that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I remember I was in college, and at the time I never even really, I thought about entertainment modeling and all that other stuff. And I was like, damn, what? And
in college.
In college. And this is in college. And I was like, dude, I kind of want to like get back out there and do entertainment, but I didn't really vocalize it.
Okay. And
my boy, we're on our porch, and he's like, dude, that's who you remind me of, like a young Will Smith. And I was like, oh shit. So you
must make you feel so good, bro.
You think I really could do this acting thing, huh?
But that's how you actually felt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was like, damn, okay.
And he said yes. He's like, yeah, I could see you doing that.
I didn't say that out loud, but I was like, damn, I could.
You didn't say that out loud?
No, I didn't.
Okay. But he said that.
He said that to me, and I was like, damn, that helped, like, again, plant the seed.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And you're like, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe. You know? It's something I already believe, but I never vocalized. But if somebody that I respect or I'm good friends with says something to me that kind of, like, confirms what I'd already been feeling, then it's like, maybe that is something that I should explore, you know?
Yeah. That's another thing Rick Rubin says too. This is a Rick Rubin podcast, guys.
I know. We're gonna have to reference the book so people are like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" Like, we'll have to give a little recap at the end.
We'll put a recap of the book. But what did you just say?
About I was talking about like friends telling you stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So like Rick Rubin was saying that like if someone mentions something that even that I don't like you should do acro yoga.
Okay.
Or some shit.
Explore it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, in your head, it's like, nah, like I ain't doing that shit. But then like 2 other friends are like, bro, you should definitely do acro yoga.
Yeah.
And then he's like, fuck, all right.
I guess
like,
I'll try
it out.
Yeah.
You know, like with anything. And he was like, if enough people like bring up this idea that they say about me, there might be some truth to it.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know? So like that's interesting too, because like you have this vision of who you are as a human, but you might not be that.
It's true. It's true.
And you see that.
There's a line in this verse, bro, off my track, grow.
Uh-huh.
And it's.
Can you say the line?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I don't mind. I'll spit some bars for you. But it's like the opening bar of this verse is, does it resonate?
Uh-huh.
Does my heart skip a beat? Let it marinate, preparing way, never knowing defeat. Like, just being in that place where it's like, I'm asking people, does it resonate?
Yeah.
Does this shit speak to you right now?
Yeah.
Like, passionately, though. So it's like, those are the biggest moments, because it's like when it really speaks to you, it's something that's so compelling that it's like you can't deny it. It's undeniable. And now you have to move in a way that you answer the calling or whatever it was inspiring you to do that shit to begin with. You know?
What are some artists that speak to you in that way?
I mean, Kendrick Lamar and his new album, Vulnerable. The vulnerable
I haven't listened to it yet.
The one that he actually won the Grammy for best on Sunday, won the Grammy for best hip hop album.
Oh shit!
What's it called? Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Listen to the whole thing, my man. Listen to it. You probably heard some songs.
I heard his last one. I heard his last one.
Which one? The Damn one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. But this one in particular was like
a
lot more. It was a lot more introspective, and it was also a lot more like vulnerable, like the places he went in terms of like the emotion and the subject matter he was talking about that a lot of people don't talk about. And in his Grammy speech, he thanks people for his fans for evolving with him and giving him the opportunity to speak about stuff that he has more confidence bringing to light because they are human things people deal with but don't necessarily get touched upon within rap, especially not like gangster
society.
Rap, you know what I'm saying?
Or in society in general.
Yeah, I mean, how often are we told that we need to talk about our emotions, or we are? How often are we like? How often are we?
Well, it's not just emotions. It's like also, like, no one really talked about sex growing up. No one really talked about politics growing up. And you look at it now, everyone's talking about emotions. Everyone's talking about politics. Like, it might be maybe to the extreme that like you shouldn't be having some of these conversations and like every day, like to like close friends or like whatever. Like there's a certain time and place for those, but at least they're being talked about now.
Exactly.
You know, because I don't know, maybe that's being all closed up again to those things. Like, I feel like talking about emotions is important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything that's like a universal human trait or quality is like something that should be discussed. Yeah. Because it just you're helping people like work through things that you're probably experiencing yourself, man. It's just like, do we feel the comfort? Do we have the comfort or
is the comfort not knowing that you're alone?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's huge, man.
In that emotion.
It's impactful, man. Yeah. For sure. And again, speaking to people on a level that it's like, dude, I felt the same shit that you felt. Thank you for helping me come to terms or allowing me to realize that I'm not the only one. Right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, because back to what we were saying earlier is like, if you were a kid, like your parents were like, I've lived through your shit, dude. You don't know.
Yeah. It's huge. Yeah. That's huge.
What are you most excited for your life right now, man? Because like, how many years you've been out here for 5 years in LA now?
Yeah.
Okay. So 5-ish for me. And, like you kind of got your start, you found your communities. What do you say? You found like good communities, like fitness one, as well as like probably a good friend group out here. Like, what do you say?
Yes. Okay. Yes. I think that I've established a pretty good community, good like safety net. And I finally found financial footing, or financial security, which has been game changing.
Congrats, man.
Thanks, man. And
Like,
in
that's
a creative sense.
It's hard to do.
It's hard. It's hard
extremely
to do.
hard to do.
Yeah, finding balance as an artist, like, because anybody can find like a job that just pulls and sucks the life out of you. But it's like, how do you find something that is supportive of your art, but also supportive of your financial well-being?
Sure.
You know, so
congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
And like, so you found your financial footing. You have these communities, and like you've been introduced to, or like you've booked some gigs, maybe not as big as like you want.
Yeah.
Right. What are you like? What's next? What are you most excited for? Like, obviously, is it music or like whatever?
I think honestly, I'm excited about moving the next stages of my life in terms of like finding a romantic partner, because I feel like I needed a lot of things that I needed to figure out personally. Had a lot of trauma and things that I needed to work through, and I also just wanted to have certain things to bring to a relationship that I didn't feel like I could provide prior to actually finding a serious like partner. Dude, financial stability.
Oh,
dude.
yeah, that's big.
You know what I'm saying?
That is
Like,
big.
being broke all the fucking time and trying to really have a good relationship with somebody is like, it's cool when you're like 19, dog, because you're both broke as fuck. But like, when you're not 19, like,
when
you're
a grown-ass
man.
man.
Exactly. It's not cool. It's for so long I sacrificed that stability in order to pursue the art wholeheartedly. And I was like, fuck it, I'll be broke living in a fucking closet. You invite a girl over, you're like, yo, you want to come over and live in my closet with me? Like, it's different, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
some girls are down.
Some girls are down, but for how long, right?
Yeah.
And I guess that determines whether a real one or not. But at the same time, like, that ain't fair to them either.
Yeah, but
you know?
also the caveat to that is like, you don't want a girl dating you for like you being able to take them out to dinner. Like, all the time,
and
right?
not even that, man.
Or
It's just like,
you know what I'm saying? Because like, there's a lot of girls out here that like, at my bar, bro, I see so many like 60-year-olds with like 19-year-olds, bro.
Oh, of course. Well, you know, but that's it's a service. It's an equal exchange of energy.
Maybe
that
they love each other, bro. Come on.
Maybe,
now.
and that's fine too. Or they don't. It doesn't matter to me. The thing is, like, they can provide a certain thing for that person, right?
Sure. Yeah.
This person wants youthful energy, which is priceless.
Yeah.
This
a good way of
lady
putting it.
wants exactly. This lady wants, or this young man or woman wants, you know, financial security, which this older person can provide.
Yeah.
Perfect. Right. So it's
weird. I've never seen anything like it, bro. It got me. It gets me shook out
honestly,
here sometimes.
I'm upset that I don't see more older women with young gentlemen. You know, that makes me upset because equality, bro. It's 2023, and I need to see that.
Bro, I'm not gonna say any names or anything, but I have a buddy, dude, who's like a sugar baby. He's a dude.
Nice. Good for him.
And like,
Good for
he's
him.
early 30s, and
Hell yeah.
this
the dream.
this chick's like 65, bro.
Yes.
He's living in her Malibu mansion.
Whoa.
Like,
Holy shit. Does he need days off?
I'll ask. Also, any ladies out there?
Living in her Malibu. Jesus Christ. There's worse things you can do. I also guess it depends on like who this person is. Because, you know, ain't nothing free in this world, bro.
Yeah.
There's always a price.
Figure it out.
It's always a price.
I don't know the price. I'm kind of interested. Like,
yeah,
that sounds like a movie,
that's a buddy.
bro.
I would be asking all the questions, dude. Like, hey, what do you got to do, man? For real,
What are you
man.
doing? What are you doing?
What's wrong with her, bro?
Yeah.
What's wrong? You can tell me. You can tell me on my podcast if you want.
Yeah. I just had a
film it.
friend. I just had a friend who was on the podcast, and he's a videographer.
Yeah.
And he's been like doing photo shoots for like porn stars and actually doing
Dope.
like
There's money to
videography
be
for
made,
porn,
man. Yeah.
right? And again, that's like uncommon. People don't like talking about those things, but like if you look at the industry itself, like porn's one of the most profitable industries in the world, maybe more so than some movies, you know?
Dude, sex makes the world go round. How could it not be, dude? None of us would be here without it. So it's like, it's such a brainless thing when you think about it.
I know, it's
like,
crazy when you think about it, though, because like no one wants to talk about it, and no one ever even thinks about it. Everyone thinks about it.
It's like, what are you talking about, bro?
Yeah. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just something that's not on the surface level, right?
Yeah.
It's not, it's taboo still in some
Yeah.
ways. In LA, a lot of shit that
Yeah.
was taboo is not taboo.
Yeah.
Every girl or guy, like you go to a skyscraper downtown, they got their OnlyFans running in the fucking living room. Like, it's like just every person's got an OnlyFans account. For one, because it's hard as fuck to make it in LA financially. So you got to do what you got to do.
There's some OnlyFans girls out here making like 20, 30K a month, bro.
That's what I'm saying,
I'm
man.
just like,
There's
yo.
money to be made, but it's also like, what brings you the most joy? Would I be happy doing that kind of thing? You know, I don't know. I don't feel like it speaks to me as much as me creating my art.
Yeah.
But dude, 20, 30K definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, maybe that's their
You know?
art.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, more power to you, whatever you feel like your purpose is. And if you're living in it, that's it.
Back to the excited thing, though. Is it basically like the relationship, like having a relationship?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I look forward to is having a partner who wants to meet me and grow with me. And, we have not necessarily even a similar way of thinking, but a similar way of moving through this world. I think
And
the
were you not
maturity and the commitment to growth. I'm always looking for somebody who's committed to growth, because I can fuck up, you can fuck up, we can fuck up together. But as long as we're willing to grow from that and just not repeat mistakes, we can it's like compounded interest. Just get better with time, dude.
Were you not excited about that before?
It just wasn't my focus. So when you asked, like, what are the things you're looking forward to most?
Now? Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I think I'm a little bit more open to now. Because I think, like, having a partner would be nice. I think it would be cool to have a support system, because, goddamn, it's just easier to make it. I see a lot of my friends.
You think so?
I see a lot of my friends who are, like, really thriving, and they didn't really make major moves until they had somebody
like a relationship.
Well, just somebody that they could grow with, like a partner, like financial stability, somebody who was able to, like, meet them and help them, and they were building their wealth, generational wealth together. And it's just you see, like, because you try building those things by yourself, it's tough.
It is tough.
It's tough, dude.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What about art-wise?
I'm looking forward to get this EP off the ground. I want to do another fucking episode once I drop this, because we're gonna have a lot of shit to talk about, and I'm gonna have to do the rounds, dude. I gotta get out there and promote it. You know, it is what it is.
How do you promote?
Dude, so that's what I'm
like.
looking at.
Are you on platforms right now?
Yeah. So the big thing for me right now is, like,
and when's the date, so everyone can kind of have, like, an idea. Because whatever you say right now, you're gonna have to do it, because it's like you're saying it. It's locked in.
It's on the internet forever.
It's locked in.
Exactly.
That's one thing I love doing, because, like, the podcast too. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start a podcast. Oh yeah, I'm gonna start a bitters company. All these things, and then, like, some friends who are tight with me, like, a year goes by and they're like, bro, didn't you say you were gonna start a podcast, bro? I'm like, fuck, I have to do it.
Yeah, I know. Hey, man, as long as you do it. Yeah. But the thing is, like, I love the idea of having a date, and it's okay if you don't reach that date per se. But
it's like you have a goal.
My goal is getting it out this year. But my thing is, like, I don't want to rush the creative process, and I also realize that I have a whole, like, idea of how I want to attack this. One, get the creative place, or get the creative process and all that locked in. Create the project, create the product, and then figure out how you market that product. And I have to put an equal amount of energy, if not more energy, into figuring out how I'm going to advertise, market, promote, as I did into creating this project. And if it was a great project that I put a lot of time in, then that plan for promoting and everything has to be equally, if not better. So there's going to be a whole series of things, but merch, NFTs, tours, like, I want to do that shit. I want to do this with this
NFTs
project.
are dead now, aren't they?
That's the thing. It's like, what's hot? By the time I drop this project, something else will be out. But it's like doing my research and figuring out how I want to do this. I mean, the biggest and most important thing is making something of quality, because if your shit sucks, you can take it places, but at the same time, like, it's just easier to do when you have a great thing.
Yeah.
It's easier.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing too. Like, if people don't fuck with it, like, organically, without any promotion or with anything else, like, why would it do better?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, down the road, maybe you're just like, it's just like you take the makeup off and you're just like,
nah, I'm straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And that's the hard part, man. Really capturing that. That's the hard part about this, is, like, capturing whatever it is that makes it special.
Yeah.
So when you take the makeup off, you're like, damn, I still love this bitch.
Yeah, I know. She's hot as fuck. This shit slaps.
100%. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. See, you get it, dude. Nate, my man, I appreciate you, bro. That's what I'm talking about.
What do you? Yeah. There's so many people who like want to write music and want to, like, do the things that you're doing, and, like, me too. And I guess if you had to tell someone, like, where to start, where would they start? Like, in terms of, like they have the ability to, so it's not like they live in buttfuck Egypt now. It's like, okay, like, I am financially stable. I am, like, whatever. I have the ability to do these things, but there's something in my psyche that's, like, preventing me from doing it.
I would ask them, why haven't they started? And to figure out what it is that's blocking them, preventing them from starting. And then once they do that, work through that and start.
Yeah.
And then don't stop.
Yeah.
Make it a habit. Like
Yeah.
brushing your teeth in the morning, taking a shit, whatever.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Make it a habit.
It's like, it just happens. I set aside an hour every night, or I set aside an hour every week. It doesn't matter how big or small. Just make a habit. And when it comes
Do you
to
have a
that
pretty good
day,
habit
no matter what,
with writing?
yeah, I will sacrifice sleep in order to write, because my creative juices get flowing at night.
It's at night?
So that's the
Do you
biggest
coach
thing.
early morning?
Yeah.
Like
So
5:30, 6?
yeah, 6:15 is like the earliest class. So sometimes I get them at 4:30, and it's like, it just depends, man. Sometimes inspiration strikes, you have to run with it. You know,
Dang.
it's not always, but it's like, I now meet with my producer once a week for at least an hour, and we go over.
So you have a pretty consistent routine going on with this.
Yeah, me and my producer are going 50-50 on this project,
Yeah.
so it's going to be a collaboration of sorts, and he's going to get 50% of the streaming royalties, and then, you know, I'm going to get probably, you know, I don't know what all the numbers are, but
it's
we got a whole
basically 50-50.
agreement. Yeah, exactly. But it's us working together, because we are like best friends. I've known this guy for over 2 decades now. I'm the best man in his wedding in March, and it's like, we've grown together, and we've realized that, like, yo, he's about to settle down, have kids.
You ready for the speech?
I just talked to him about it today. I just need 1 to 2 minutes, so it could be something fabulous. We'll see what the fuck happens. All right,
That's an opportunity.
it is an opportunity, but just speak from the heart, bro. Just keep it real and be authentic. But we're just in places where it's like, dude, we're tired of being slept on, and we kind of just want to see things through. You know, I've always considered myself a late bloomer, and so I think like that.
Why do you say that?
I've always just developed later. Like, came to realize my purpose later in life. Got my confidence later in life. I grew later in life. Hit puberty later in life. Like, things have just always kind of like happened at a later stage for me. And so I'm like, I think one of the biggest things, you know, breaking through within this space, this music industry, is like showing people that, yo, it's not too late. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do what you want to do when you want to do it, whenever. And
The biggest story that I
means I'm a
love-
geriatric rapper, then fuck it.
Fuck it.
You know?
Well, a lot of there's old actors. Like, and
Exactly.
there's a lot of parts for old
There
actors.
is, of course, because it's like acting is a human thing.
Yeah.
And there's all types of humans
There's
at
all
all
types of
ages.
humans,
So
you
why
know?
would you not?
And there's so many people who like literally just, I think, quit when they're young acting.
Yeah.
But then like there's so many older people that there's way more young actors than old actors.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
feel
there's
like
way more young everything than there is old.
yeah.
You know?
But like these older people will book a role, and it's probably easier because the pool is less.
Yeah.
And you just don't think about that.
Yeah, exactly. It's
You
very
know?
true. Very true. Things start to get small. It's the same for relationships.
Yeah.
The older you get dating people get smaller and smaller
That
and
is
smaller
true.
and smaller and funnier. But it also is like, depending on the situation that you're in, it can be like, oh, now I'm like now I was here, but now I'm up here. You know what I'm saying? Because like, hey, so it is what it is. Like, it's fine. It's just perspective, man.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons to
Perspective is big. What do you call what makes you different than any other fitness trainer? In maybe a class setting or personal training, or like if you had to say like, this is, I don't know, an elevator pitch to like someone who's like, why should Élan train me, or Élan train me? Or like, what makes you the class that everyone likes booking? Like, I'm gonna be there at 6:15, even though
I'm fucking tired.
I'm tired, and I could take any other class, but I'm only going because Élan's there.
I think it's the authenticity of like me being in that space, the genuineness that I bring to whatever I'm doing, and also I think like my willingness to grow with the person. Do you know what I'm saying? And give them skills that are lifelong. My goal is always to help people find some sort of fitness pastime that'll last a lifetime. Because it's like, there's a million people out there trying to sell you some shit, especially within the fitness space, especially online.
What about in class?
The same thing. The same thing. I feel like there's always people trying to sell you something. But like, how many people genuinely will tell you like, look, I understand you want to be ripped or you want to be this or that, but you need to find something that you love to do so that when you hate to fucking do it and you absolutely do not want to do it, you do it because it brings you joy. It's not even about the six pack at that point. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm trying to work with people to find is that joy within this space physically, you know?
Yeah. But what if their goal is like, I want that six pack. I want.
That could be a part of it.
Yeah.
That could definitely be a part of it. If that's your number one motivator, awesome. But you just need to find something that's consistent, because I guarantee most people who want the six pack, when shit hits the fan, they don't want the six pack.
Yeah.
You know?
Where does someone start if they don't know anything about fitness and they want to start getting in shape?
Instagram. Just kidding.
Look at all the fat fake asses on Instagram, guys.
Yeah. Bingo. Easy. It's free, dog. Just make it account. I think that...
I mean, you can learn a lot on Instagram.
Yeah.
We're not joking around. There's a lot of free shit.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a ton of accounts to follow. I can't name them off the top of my head, but like I definitely follow them. I think if you're new to fitness, finding a mentor, someone you can speak to who knows their stuff, who can start pointing you in the right direction, so that you can start working through things, stumbling, trial and error, and then coming back and reporting back to them and having conversations about what worked, what didn't work, and why it didn't work. And then again, they can point you to somebody else, because that's really what it is. It's like having a mentor in any other field. Somebody who's good at what they did. And
how does someone like find that?
Instagram.
Instagram's the answer to everything, guys.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, social media is huge, man. Sending people messages.
Yeah.
Dropping
like
a comment on their
like
page.
DMs?
Like, hey, send them a genuine message. Like, hey, I've been inspired by your work for this long amount of time, and I honestly just wanted to thank you.
Have you done that before?
I have. Just like thank people and been like, hey, I'm curious about your experience with this particular fitness company. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're busy. Yeah. And maybe it takes 2 weeks, 2 months for them to get back to me, because maybe they don't see it or they're just slammed. But when you're genuine, generally I've found that like they'll respond. Sure. Because they're like, oh, this person really wants help. Yeah. Or you respond. I mean, a lot of these places have an opportunity for you to connect with these people. You know? That's the biggest thing, is like finding that. And I think most people have a phone and some sort of internet access, no matter where they are. Yeah. So that connection is there.
That's interesting, because for so long I thought social media in that aspect was so fake that like all these people
it can be really fake, dog.
Yeah, but really. like how do you tell then, like, from that message, you know, like how do you understand, you know?
I think it's just how genuine you are when you send the message. How genuine, how real is it, you know? I think you could tell, man. I think when people are like over the top excited, there's a lot of exclamation marks in the fucking message, and you're like, I don't know you. What is your deal? Like when somebody's like, hey, I just wanted to reach out and say, like, I really, really appreciate the work that you're doing. You've inspired me to like be a better person. I used to weigh this amount of much, or I struggle with this my entire life, and seeing your story has really helped me get to this place. Dude, when you're just genuine like that, like it's like having somebody come up to you on the street and being like, hey, I've been following you on Instagram for a really long time, and you helped me change who I am physically, inside and out. And then you're like, what? And they're like, this is why. And then they tell you what happened, and you're just like, damn, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit's real, dude. That's a human connection.
Slept on the DMing in a genuine way.
Yeah, it is. Well, just imagine how many fitness people get weird ass DMs, man. Dick pics, fucking weird shit. You're just like, what? Yeah. That's not anyway. You wouldn't go on the street and whip your dick out, right? Why would you do that on the internet? Yeah. Like, I don't understand what's going on here.
I don't know. WeHo's different, bro. You might see that out there.
Dude, you got to be careful, man, out in these streets, dude.
Bro, I was tangent time. I was driving to my buddy's bar in WeHo, and like it was probably like 11 o'clock, and then there was this like big shadow in the distance walking like a model, just like strutting. Nice. I thought it was a chick at first. Yeah. It was a dude. And I was like, oh. And then I realized like he just has a hard one out. Like his dick is out. Oh, wow. And he's strutting like he's on the red carpet, bro. Like with like a scarf. Wow. And like no pants. Just like, and this dude probably has like an 18-incher, bro. Like I'm mind blown. Like the light turned green and I'm still looking at this guy. Like, and it wasn't like I'm attracted to this man. It's like,
man, there's no judgment here, bro.
I was like, wow, like
you're like, wow, people are just out here living.
Out here like that.
Living, man. They're out here living.
All right, tangent done.
That's so funny, dude. Yeah, the world is an interesting place, man.
Yeah. How do you figure out how to use all the equipment and like make things? So like you made this music video that I saw, Move
with Me.
With Me. Shout out Christina. I saw our girl Christina.
That's
on
crazy.
It.
Yeah.
Small world, bro.
Such a small world. Yeah. She's a talented individual.
She's
for sure.
super talented.
Young, talented.
Yeah.
Hungry.
Boom. But I guess like you have this vision of like making a video for this song. Like, how do you make it a reality? Because like, I guess for me, if you watch MTV growing up or you see all these crazy music videos, like they seem kind of like out of this world. Like they're not real. And then you kind of like
the team, man.
Huh?
The team.
So it's literally team.
Yeah. The biggest thing I love about music versus acting is how small my team can be.
Yeah.
Music is a lot more accessible and it's a lot more realistic to make a phenomenal project on your own than it is a film, right? How the fuck can you make a film on your own phenomenal? You need a sound guy.
I don't know, bro. Casey Neistat does pretty good, bro.
Who?
Casey Neistat?
I don't even know who the hell that is.
You don't know who Casey Neistat is?
Is he on Instagram?
Probably. I think he filmed basically a whole HBO show by himself and his brother.
Oh, well, what is the name of the show?
The Neistat Brothers or something like that.
Okay,
this is like 1997.
Oh, it's a different time, bro.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like, and I'm not talking about like the Instagram reels where it's like people are like filming footage and then they're overlaying like like dialogue, doing voiceover, and then it's like treated so that it looks really cool and there's text on top. I'm talking about like a legit like cinematic masterpiece.
Sure.
Like, name one that's won an Academy Award didn't have a team of individuals working on it.
Zero.
You need like even fucking Castaway with like one guy, like that took a series of people, and you're like, dude, there's nothing going on. He's on a fucking island. What's happening here?
You were fortunate enough to like, I guess, have one of your best boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
as my producer,
as a really
executive producer. And then I have homies down in San Diego who have like a studio that I can record at. So it's like, okay,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
How does one like, if they don't have a producer, where do they start? Like, do they just hit random people up? Be like, hey, bro, you want to be my producer?
Exactly. Find people on Instagram who are doing what you want to do, who aren't too far out of reach in terms of like talent, right? You want to find people who's at a similar level as you.
Yeah.
Because let's be realistic. Like, unless you can pay them an exorbitant amount of money or their rate, if you don't have any money, it's gonna have to be an equal exchange of energy. Otherwise, what are they getting out of it? Unless they're just like, dude, you're a really good person. I see the talent you have. Yeah. It's raw, but I want to produce you, and now I'm like managing you. That's a different relationship all on its own, So I think it really just finds people who are in a similar space as you, and then ask them, are they willing to? What are their goals for the future? And if you guys feel like you can grow creatively, then boom,
together. It's like a relationship.
It's like a relationship, man.
Wow,
that's it. Yeah, pretty dope, right?
That is dope.
Yeah,
because so many people are so do it myself.
Yeah, I was like that too for a lot of shit early on, and then I realized like, nah, I could be a lot more efficient if I have a team of people for different things.
Yeah,
it's true. 100%.
How does it help your creative process?
What part? What do you mean?
So you have an idea, right? And you're like, this is a really fucking good idea, and you act on the idea, like you said, and then you start creating it.
Okay.
Versus like you have this idea and you say it, like now you have a team that has to approve your idea, right? What's the importance, or like what does it benefit having a team in that scenario?
Yes, it does.
How
it
so?
Always benefits having people who know you well, who can give you a different perspective, because perspective is everything. And it's like you see things from a certain standpoint, certain light, through a certain lens. So you're creating from that space, from that mindset. Yeah. But it's like they see it and they're like, I know what the intention is for this track because we've talked about what you're trying to do here. Yeah. And you're not hitting it. So you need to go back in there and record it again and try this.
If someone says that to you, or I'm assuming someone has said that to you because you're giving it as an example.
Yeah. Happened today.
Did it really?
Yeah. Happened today. Yeah.
How do you take it? Because like growing up, you just said you had like a big ego.
I mean, that's it. I've worked through a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I know.
And
like,
it makes
how do you
me
process
frustrated.
that?
Like I was frustrated today.
Yeah.
But it was because I wasn't delivering how I wanted to because I'm fucking exhausted.
Yeah. But sometimes like you do feel that way, and then you still get that response from other people.
You mean like you missed the mark kind of thing?
No. So like you might feel like, oh, I did perform the way I wanted to, and then your producer's like, no, go record that shit.
Yeah. Well, they help bring perspective because then you listen to it. without the ego, and you're like, actually, you're right, I didn't know that. Because that's how it is. I get in the booth sometimes and I record something and I'm like, damn, that shit, it felt good. But that was the adrenaline pumping. I'm like, yeah, I got that. And then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I listen to the track and I'm like, missed the mark. Missed the mark on that. It wasn't there. It wasn't how I needed it to be, right? And so you're like, no. I got to go back and re-record it, or something's not working here. What is it? I got to figure that out.
It's hard for people to do sometimes, though. Like take that medicine.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do.
Yeah, it's always hard to take constructive criticism, but it's like, because, you know, we are emotional, egotistical beings on some level. But like I said, I'm committed to growth. So I'm going to do what I got to do to get to that next step.
Fuck
you know,
dude.
It's important.
How did it feel seeing your face on in a store at Lululemon?
Oh, that was cool, man.
Which one was it?
That was cool. Pacific Palisades.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm an ambassador over there. And that was sweet. It was cool because...
How did you get that gig?
So, remember that person I told you gave me my first job in LA at the front desk?
Yes.
She got me that position too. She
so
put my
awesome.
name in the mix, and I applied for it, and I interviewed for a series of interviews, and eventually I was awarded the ambassadorship for the year,
That's awesome.
which is like a year contract with Lulu.
Have you signed it? Is it more than a year? Has it been more than a year?
It's a year. No, it hasn't been more than a year. I signed it back in March or May.
Okay. I was curious because...
Damn, it's almost March. Holy shit.
I was just curious because my buddy who rents out the gym down the street that I train at, he was a Lululemon ambassador 2018 through 20.
Yeah.
And he had a really good experience with it. I love their clothes, dude.
Yeah, you know, I love Lululemon clothes too, and I think they're an industry and its leader. And truthfully, I'm very appreciative for the opportunity because it's an opportunity to grow within this space.
You're also associated with the high quality brand, so therefore, like, you're seen as a high quality individual. I know it sounds like ridiculous, but that's what it is.
It's a matter of fact. You're right. And I signed on more so than the clothes, which, you know, I worked as a seasonal employee for them. Okay. Before I even got this ambassadorship during the pandemic. And so I really got more educated on what Lululemon was all about.
You walked around like trying on clothes and stuff for people and stuff.
Yeah, I did some fittings, but more so like when the ambassadorship was offered to me, they told me about like the intention for the community and the importance of community, and then some of their core values, and that's the stuff that really resonated and what I really wanted to sign on, because I was like, okay, there's a bigger brand that actually wants to have a reach within the community. How can I participate? Because I was looking to be more involved in the community, and I still feel like there's work to be done, and we haven't done as much as I would like to, but the opportunity is still there, so I want to keep like pushing for that. You know,
March is coming up.
It's coming up quick, man. I mean, there's always the opportunity to renew, so we'll see what happens. I think whatever's meant to be will be. Yeah. But again, hopefully I can do.
What's the duties for that?
It's interesting. The contract, I think, originally said like you got to post a certain amount of times, tag Lululemon, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. And then, you know, you're awarded a certain amount of product and you can give people things depending on the time of the year, or, you know, send whatever. And then that was pretty much it. They did like the ambassador photo shoot in there. I think now I'm connected with all the Lululemon ambassadors within the LA region for all stores. And so there's events, like they're doing an event for Black History Month on the 18th.
Similar to like LSKD's one? Like similar to, like at a gym or an event or something like that?
Yeah, but it's more so less on like a physical realm, or it's more so less on a like actual workout, and it's more so around like some sort of community bonding thing. Like maybe it's like volunteering at a triathlon for para what do you call it, athletes, special.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name.
Athletes with disabilities, para. I can't remember the name terminology, but it's just like an opportunity to connect with people based on the skills that you bring to this ambassadorship. And then hopefully you're all able to work together within your community to make a difference using those skills, you know? So
it doesn't take too much of your time?
No, it doesn't take too much. It's not like a paid gig or anything like that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Clothes are nice, bro.
Hey, man. Hey, that's a form of compensation. There's no doubting that. And I'm very appreciative for it. I absolutely am. Yeah. But I think, like I said, the biggest thing that attracted me to that was their appreciation of community, the reach that they wanted to have within the community,
Sure.
on a local level and beyond. And then, like I said, the core values that they hold.
Yeah. Right now in your life, you just said that like you're making a living off of creating, right? Would you say that? Like you just said, you're making basically you're living off like what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm living out dreams that I had for myself.
Yeah.
Making a living, like, technically music is a
Same
hobby
thing,
because I'm not
yes.
getting paid, right?
Sure.
But fitness. Yes.
Yes.
Getting paid for that.
Yes. But I guess my point to that question was there's a lot of people out there who think they can't make money off doing something that they really enjoy. Okay. And there's a lot of people who do, though. Like out here they do. Right. But there's a lot of people who don't. Okay. And I guess for me too, like I didn't think making like money like training people was possible, or like I got my first podcast sponsorship a couple weeks ago.
Oh, badass.
Yeah.
So you're doing the whole marketing advertisement thing.
Yeah, no.
Okay, cool.
So it's dope now. And
Can't wait to hear that.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, it's actually I think this is the second episode that's gonna be like all the marketing and everything.
Sick.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So, I mean, you were able to monetize this now.
Yeah.
That's it.
And, like for a long period of time, I just thought that I was going to do like fitness and the things that I like just for me.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And like, I just didn't think it was possible. Right.
Okay.
Now I know because I did it, but I guess for you, like, what do you tell, I don't know if you had those same thoughts, like, going through your process, like I don't know if I could like be making money doing fitness, like who am I to tell anybody, like you said that in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And like now you're kind of doing that. So what's your advice to those like people who just like I can't do that, like there's no way?
Take your time, develop your craft, and keep at it. You know what I'm saying? Like the better you get at this, the more likely it is that you can monetize it. Because it's like, you're good at shit, you can make money off it, man.
Yeah.
You just got to be smart about how you
Market
navigate.
for anything, especially now.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, dude. I think that's all I have. If you, where can people find you?
Oh, okay, man. Thank you, dog. I appreciate you, bro. I mean, people can find me primarily on Instagram. I mean, I'm on there too much. I also have TikTok. But it's E-L.
Are you on the TikTok game now?
Élansoreal, man. I plan on being a little bit more active on TikTok.
I'll put like links down, guys.
I dropped the EP, but until that comes out, you can find me on Instagram on a pretty regular basis. Élansoreal. Élan So Real. That's it. And then, God, I mean, you can find me at Camp LA, Santa Monica, if you ever want to meet me in person or work out together.
What is the, I guess, if you had to describe like camp workouts, like how would you describe it?
So camp is a series of multiple studios all under one roof.
Okay.
They offer, this LA location offers hot Pilates, hot sculpt, hot yoga, a strength and conditioning class, which I teach. And then soon we'll offer a circuit class, which is a strength and cardio-based workout revolving around the curved self-propelled treadmill. So if you like to run, boom, come see me.
Not for me. I won't be there. I'll be at the strength and conditioning.
There we go, man. Come through. Dude, whenever you want. I know you're all the way out here, but fucking see me.
No, I'll come. I have a client in Malibu twice a week, so.
Dude, oh, dope.
Might come before.
Okay.
Because the clients usually.
I see you making house calls, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
Dude, that's how I did it over COVID, bro. And like I had like 5 house calls, and now I just have 1 now, which I'm happy about, because like.
If it's at Malibu, then it's probably worth it. But otherwise, I get it.
It's worth it. Like some I was driving like an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes, and I'm just like,
ooh, that's gnarly, man.
Yeah.
I thought me driving an hour to get here for this podcast was a lot during rush hour.
You gotta do what you gotta do, bro.
You gotta do what you. I'm glad I did now, because honestly, had a fine drink, a great conversation.
Yeah.
I was hurting earlier, but I feel a lot more like
awesome, bro.
Zen, dude.
We're gonna have you back on when you drop your stuff.
My EP, I would love to, man.
And
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for driving all the way.
Hey,
and
man. Thank you, Nate. Appreciate you.
Hope you guys learned a lot, and we'll see you in the next one.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Much
Thanks, brother.
love.
Peace.
Peace.